advanced form of dry AMD called geographic atrophy, or GA. His struggle with vision loss made me want to help others know about GA's warning signs. For some, colors appear dull or washed out. For others, hazy or blurred vision make it hard to see details, like fine print on price tags. Many have trouble seeing in the dark, making driving at night difficult. GA gets worse over time.
Sports 1140.
It's time for Alan Stiles and Chris Watkins.
Yes. On a Thursday, Stiles and Watkins taking you up to 2 p.m. via the radio apps where you can also hear us. I'm wearing my Ken Griffey Jr. jersey, and I got the Griffey shoes to match to celebrate Major League Baseball's opening day. We're all wearing different jerseys today to celebrate teams that we like, or if you're Chris Watkins, just a jersey because you got jerseys. Everybody's got a jersey friend. You're somebody's jersey friend.
Yeah, I don't wear them a lot, not nearly as much as I used to. I have a ton. Like, I have a Griffey jersey. I have a ton of jerseys. It's at my parents' house. That's why I didn't find. I have a Hank Aaron jersey.
Wow.
Got a big Poppy jersey at my parents' place. I need to go. Well, it's probably best that it's over there because it's just taking up too big of my closet. But yeah, I figured I got my Sharks jersey on. I got my A's hat on. Figured it was the best way of getting as many sports as possible into one uniform. So, I didn't, you went with Giants. You still had to rep the Giants. But,
yes.
But now, the Griffey is like, that's
right.
iconic,
Don't get it twisted.
Yeah.
I mean, us 90s babies, Ken Griffey Jr., that's the guy right there.
Yeah.
But I am a Giants fan, and we'll talk about the over-unders and how we feel about the Giants and the A's and what they have going on starting today, Major League Baseball's opening day, the changes the Kings can make tomorrow as they try to make sure they get the tiebreaker with the Mavs after that shellacking that happened last night or 2 nights ago. So the Kings are trying to get back on the right track. LeBron has some things to say about the Kings. And we talked about the split action, also has some things to say about blitzing Luka. They discussed that. And we also will have at 11:30 Kevin Gray Jr. Dallas Mavericks pre- and post-game host on 971 The Freak, also host of Inside the Mavs Pod. That is at 11:30, and maybe he will give us some things that we can take back to the team and say, hey, we think maybe you could do this or try that tomorrow night as the Kings take on the Mavericks. Chris Watkins, how you doing?
Great, man. You did that whole intro with crumble, like, chipmunked in the side of your mouth. That was incredibly impressive, man. No, you're good. You're all good. I just know that we were scarfing these crumble cookies like literally seconds before the show starts, and I was like, I don't know how Alan just did all of that and then ate the cookie at the same time. No water, no nothing. It's like you've seen that Popeyes challenge, haven't you? The Popeyes biscuit challenge where you got to eat the biscuit without some water. I was like, I don't know how this man just did that. But, we're firing on all cylinders on a Thursday, feeling good. It's a nice little hey, we got off nights tonight. It's a quiet day, weird little 2 days off from Kings basketball. Mm-hmm. I think after Tuesday, we all kind of needed a little bit of time off after that to kind of get our thoughts together. I haven't seen anybody see any stray Mavericks around Doko. I was expecting to see, hey, I saw Luka at Echo.
Well, I text my buddy. He's got a winery out in Napa, and I said, hey, let me know.
Right, if they're out there.
The rumor is that they're in Napa. He said he hasn't seen anybody yet. Okay. So nobody knows where they're at.
Okay.
Nobody knows
where
they're at.
We'll have to track them down. Mm-hmm. Yeah. If anybody sees any Mavericks out and about tonight, make sure to, make sure that they enjoy their night. Is all I'm saying.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
I'm just saying, if we can have any advantages tomorrow, that'd be fantastic. So definitely excited for tomorrow. It's weird to have this weird day. It is nice, but it's also strange to just feel like, all right, I think I'm ready to get back on the horse. Hopefully the Kings are having that same attitude. Hopefully they're chomping at the bit. There's going to be practice later today. I'm sure there's going to be tons of sound about these guys. We watched the film. So many things we think we can improve on. Hopefully we get a Sasha Vezenkov update. Maybe he can play today as well. We've been eagerly waiting for his return. So, even though there's no game tonight, should probably be a lot of good action as there was last night. I know we're going to talk about the Warriors game, but it feels like the NBA is really starting to, I know there's 10 games left, but it feels like now is really where just the entire league is starting to heat up.
We'll have pocket watching at 10:30, which will lead us into our conversation about Draymond and just a conversation about leadership as we discuss De'Aaron Fox and what he had to say in the post game and where that line starts and where that line ends. And pocket watching is going to be probably not as fun as usual because, look, man, I know you've been on the train of the Suns are probably not going to hang around, but they're not going to lose every game. Yeah. They're not going to lose every single game. Right. So they beat the Nuggets last night, a pretty impressive victory for the Suns. And as far as the Warriors are concerned, pretty bad loss, I'd say, for the Magic. Yes. The Warriors were down Kuminga, and then Draymond gets ejected. Right. The Magic, they're young. I would say that they're maybe not ahead of, maybe slightly ahead of schedule, right? They're sure, yeah. You're never just a little bit, yeah, just a little bit because look, the schedules you got to be competing pretty soon here, especially if you're a smaller market like Orlando. So even if they're slightly ahead of schedule, sometimes that's not good enough because you're worried about these guys. Right. I'm sure there's somebody somewhere on a national network talking about Paolo Banchero going to a big city and a big market. So yeah. Pretty bad loss for the Magic or a good win for the Warriors, however you want to slice it. So we will discuss all that as well. As Chris mentioned, Kings media availability at 12:15. We'll hopefully have some updates. Trey Lyles. That's also, right. Yeah. He hopped on the gram and had a little photo that is making people feel like maybe he's moving in the right direction or hopefully he's moving in the right direction. And ultimately, we have to have the conversation that we have every single year, it feels like with baseball. How do you save baseball? How do you get people more excited for baseball? Me personally, if you've been listening to this show, thank you for rocking with us. If you're new here, I'm a huge baseball guy. I've played it for a very long time. And I don't really get to talk about it too much because nobody cares. And I don't know how to change that. The list goes on and on when you talk about the elite athletes that are currently playing baseball, from O'Neal Cruz to Ellie De La Cruz. Just do all the cruises, man. You got all the cruises. Obviously, you got Juan Soto. You got Julio Rodriguez. Yeah. You have everybody on the Yankees. Obviously, Aaron Judge, Shohei Ohtani. All the young guys on the Braves. I mean, all the young, Ronald Acuna Jr., all of these dudes. So for baseball to, I guess, not be moving in the right direction, it's not great because I think they're running out of ideas.
Yeah.
And you have baseball purists that don't love some of the changes. I mean, I'm looking, Chris, and there's no prop talk today. And I'll let everybody know what I did for prop talk just for myself for baseball. But these stolen base numbers are insane now because of the new rule, and you can only pick up so many times.
And the bases got bigger last year, right?
And the bases got bigger. Yeah. If none of this is working, or if you don't start to see something within the next couple of years, I think baseball, and Rob Manfred, who doesn't even like baseball,
doesn't care.
I think baseball is just going to say, I don't know what else we can do.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, it makes sense. They made, I mean, would you say that last year was the biggest change in baseball of your lifetime? Like, just in terms of how, like, the difference from year over year, just the amount of changes that they implemented in 1 year. And yeah, I mean, it was pretty significant, and all of it, from my understanding, was in the sake of making the game more watchable, more universal. You were going to get more action, right? That was the thing. Banning the shift was going to allow more web gems and all that stuff, more steals. You see, you see guys breaking the 60 steal mark. Two of them, I think Ruiz and Acuna both broke 60 steals. I mean, yeah, absolutely. If the game isn't going to bring people, then maybe you start to look more into some of the social media stuff where you just try and have guys connect to the youth. But after that, I mean, I don't know what baseball is going to do, because I think that all the rules made sense last year. I think in terms of if your goal is to make the game more entertaining, it all makes sense. But you're right. Like, if you don't start seeing the results in the next couple of years of direct, hey, the viewership is up X amount, I don't really know where they go from there.
I got to be careful here, but I do think it's a conversation that is real. And if you look around all the different leagues and you look at even a Caitlin Clark, and we asked other media members during the game, how many stars would you say, baseball stars, are more well-known than Caitlin Clark in the U.S.? And the highest, I think Whitey just wanted to say 10.
Yeah, we couldn't get more than 5, really.
You couldn't. And
it starts to get a stretch after 5.
And when you talk about somebody who's changing the game the same way Caitlin Clark has, and we know the LeBrons and the Stephs, and football is football.
Right.
It does beg the question, if Shohei Ohtani was American, do you think baseball would more so have that person? And I don't feel comfortable saying that, but the fact that you have somebody doing with Shohei Ohtani before all this betting stuff, what he's done these last couple years, and even it being, we're talking about, he's with the Angels. Caitlin Clark's with Iowa.
Right, Iowa.
So I don't really want to hear that. He's in Major League Baseball.
Yes.
With
in LA still, even if it is
Anaheim, and nobody seemed to care. I know they didn't make the playoffs and things like that, and it's an uncomfortable conversation. But the question, it speaks more to how hard it is for baseball right now.
Yes, yeah.
Because now, so me saying, okay, yeah, now you have to find a two-way superstar, and he also has to be American, and then maybe people will care.
Right.
That's a problem.
No, absolutely. And that speaks to what you were just laying out too, where it's maybe it really isn't the product itself that is the reason why people aren't tuning in. Because again, you're not going to get more of a spectacle on the baseball field than Shohei Ohtani. And if that's not enough to bring the people in, or the masses in, then maybe it is really just a personality thing or a marketing thing. And, I think baseball is kind of already too far behind to try and catch up in, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 years. To me, that's something that takes a really long time to build up, and you kind of had to have the early head start on it too.
And at the same time, everybody knows how I feel about this. 162 games, they'll never do it. But if you cut it to 100 games, I think things change. But they won't do it for a multitude of reasons, even though the Hall of Fame is already a mess. But that's how I feel about it. We'll continue to talk baseball. Also got a lot of Kings talk ahead of you and Niners talk. A former Niners player has some things to say on his podcast. Stiles and Watkins, Sactown Sports.
On the move? Got somewhere to be?
Take Sacramento Kings basketball with you. The Sactown Sports app will let you stay connected to your passion. Never miss a moment of Sacramento Kings basketball with the Sactown Sports app.
Beachhead Deli on 711 K Street is now your place to go in downtown Sacramento prior to all the games, concerts, and events. Conveniently located just across the street from the arena, Beachhead Deli features the finest gourmet sandwiches and craft beverages anywhere. Beachhead Deli at 711 K Street is also your premier lunch destination 7 days a week. Come by and say hi to new owner Brad Wakai. He's so excited to take care of all your taste bud needs. That's Beachhead Deli at 711 K Street in Sacramento.
When you take the time to shop at Folsom Lake Honda, there's one thing you'll always find. Happy people ready to serve you. As a family-owned and operated dealership since 2009, customer service is our #1 priority. Our customers love doing business with us, and you will too.
Looking to own or lease? During the spring sales event, drive a brand new Accord or Civic. Visit us today at FolsomLakeHonda.com, your one-stop Honda shop.
Folsom Lake Honda, yeah, your one-stop Honda shop.
Join Chris Watkins and the Sactown Sports Street Team this Saturday from 4 to 6 p.m. at Fieldhouse American Sports Pub for some basketball madness and their mouth-watering full menu, 1310 Fulton Avenue.
Game host and host of Inside the Mavs pod. That's at 11:30. We're really going to pick his brain on how the Mavericks have done this season. How are they in this situation that they're in with the Kings and the Suns and just battling it out when they, if you hear LeBron, and we have sound later, if you hear LeBron talk about doubling Luka and you see how they shot 2 nights ago, it would beg the question, how did they ever lose a game? Right? So did we see the best version of the Mavs last night? Because if so, that gives us hope for Friday. If this is just how they've been playing lately, which we know it hasn't because of the 3-point shooting, then this could be rough. So we will get all that information at 11:30. Trey Lyles posted a picture on his Instagram. It just says tick, tick. And this is from our friend Tristy Rodriguez. She says, the Kings said on March 15th that his MCL sprain will be reevaluated in 2 weeks, which would be this Friday, March 29th. So reevaluated. Yeah. Could he get cleared?
He
tomorrow?
Could. No, it sounds like he could. I would imagine we probably would hear, he probably could get cleared to play or to return to like practice, but not return to play. He probably would need a couple days of reconditioning and things like that. But because especially since it's a knee injury, he hasn't been able to. Everybody always says there's a difference between being in shape and then being in basketball shape, and then especially missing these games at the end of the season. It's like guys like Domantas Sabonis and Harrison Barnes have played 72 straight games, and then Trey Lyles takes 2 weeks off right at the end of it. It's like it's just a little bit rough for getting out of condition and then trying to get back into prime conditioning at this point in the season. So I would guess he's probably not going to be back tomorrow, but he might be back by Sunday, which I just found out the other day. The Kings play on Sunday, and then maybe if not Sunday, then on Tuesday when the Kings return as well. We'll see though, because it's been interesting without Trey Lyles. A lot of reliance on HB and Keegan, and we've seen them go smaller than they've gone all season long, having like guys like Chris Duarte play the 4 pretty much. So I think Trey's return is definitely going to be needed, and we'll see how we were just talking about Sasha as well. It's going to be interesting to see if maybe by no fault of his own, maybe Sasha missed his window of opportunity here to maybe get some time before the season's over.
10 games even. That's what's left.
Crazy.
That's what's
insane,
left.
It's
flown
so
by.
crazy.
It is flown by.
It's like 3 weeks, right, of basketball left? That's crazy.
10 games left. The Kings at 42 wins. Okay, so out of the 10 games, can they got to go, 6-4 to get back to that 48 game mark.
Yep.
And at this point, that's 6-4, 8-2 to get to the 50 game. That's a heater. And this is what we were talking about losing to the Wizards and some of the games that you dropped.
Yep.
Now this isn't just playing well to end the season. Now it's ending on a heater.
Yes, it's exceeding expectations.
I'm pretty sure, Chris, especially after losing to the Mavs a couple nights ago, I'm pretty sure we can put a nail in the 50-win coffin. And I hate to be pessimistic,
right?
I just 8-2
against the amount of playoff teams they have
cooking.
Left is cooking. Yeah.
Right.
No, I mean that's yeah, I mean that would be the Kings again playing their best basketball at this point in the season, and I think it would just be a bit optimistic. I think it's not it's I don't want to say it's impossible, but it's very, very unlikely that you see. I mean, we just saw this team, even if they played 10 straight really good games on defense, we just saw them have a lapse. I just think that, again, we've seen that be the trend all year long. I just can't see this team winning 5 in a row and then maybe having a drop off and then picking it right back up and winning 5 in a row again. They play just such tough opponents. They got the Clippers. They still got the Knicks. They got the Celtics. They got OKC. They got New Orleans. They got Phoenix. They would have to just run through all of those opponents. There's a East Coast road trip just in the middle of this thing that they have to go on next week.
Knicks, Celtics back to back.
Yeah, that's just too big of a task. And it's like you said, it's the bed that they've made, and they're kind of lying in it right now. This is why it was so important to take care of all of the bad teams that like Washington and like that Toronto game could have been frustrating. It's a good thing they took care of business there, but just all of these games here recently that have been a little bit too close for comfort. That Grizzlies game that they eventually won, all of those games like that in which the Kings just kind of played with their food, it's kind of coming back to bite them now.
Yeah, and with Trey Lyles being out and Kevin Huerter, the way I look at this and watching the games, and they've been playing pretty well, and then they have the lapse against the Mavs, it really does speak to how, and this is kind of a surface take, but if you really think about it, everybody just focuses on scoring, and I think not having Kevin Huerter and not having Trey Lyles and seeing the difference now against an opponent, and like I said, the Magic, they're young, and it was a good win, but after seeing the Warriors beat them with no Draymond or Kuminga, it does kind of change things for me a little bit, right? And even though they took care of business, it just all speaks to how much more things matter than scoring. We spend so much time on scoring. Kevin Huerter is not scoring. Trey Lyles has been a brick from 3. And we don't understand fully, or it's hard to understand fully, how important just having bodies that can do different things matters besides scoring until they're not out there.
Right.
Until they're not out there.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's there's more than just one side of the ball. It's why it's been so important for the Kings to play this level of defense. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of ties into the Mike Malone thing of like, you have to have guys on your team who do more than just shoot. You got to be able to defend. You got to, especially at this time of the season where, shots don't go in, teams start to play better. They're harder than they were before. I think that was a big part of the Dallas game the other day. I have to believe that the Kings, in a way, just weren't ready for Dallas's physicality on the defensive end. They had made their money the last time the Kings had saw Dallas. They were an offensive team. They didn't have Gafford yet. They didn't have PJ Washington. They were a very heavily offensive-leaning team. And then now, when we were reading the numbers before Tuesday, they were number 1 in defense in the last 5 or so games that they had played. And it's just a completely different style down the stretch. And, you're seeing that some teams are affected a little bit more than others. And I think Dallas is somebody who, is really playing really good basketball right now. And I think a big part of that is because of how differently the game is being played right now.
They're due for an L. Okay.
It feels like
they're due for an L, and the Kings are going to
Kings are due for a bounce back.
Exactly what they want and what they need tomorrow night. When we return, pocket watching, let's just say it didn't go too well for the Kings last night. Stiles and Watkins, Sactown Sports.
Keep it here to Sactown Sports for the Sacramento Kings push toward the postseason.
Get analysis from our local shows, breakdowns from our Kings insiders, and all the thrilling moments from the G-Man.
Keegan, quick catch, quick strike. There's another one up in the lights and in the well. 10 3-pointers made. Keegan Murray putting on an all-time scoring exhibition tonight.
Sactown Sports is your proud home of the Sacramento Kings.
Contact Tax Relief Helpers for details and restrictions.
Attention, anyone that owes money to the IRS. The IRS has restarted aggressive enforcement actions against taxpayers who owe back taxes that were temporarily suspended for COVID. If you owe $10,000 or more, you must hear this because now is the time to clear your IRS tax debt. A special toll-free number has been established so you can stop penalty fees, avoid liens, levies, or other hostile measures by the IRS. Call Tax Relief Helpers right now at 800-906-5382. Tax Relief Helpers will provide you the maximum protection afforded by law.
I got behind on my taxes and owed $48,000. I didn't know what to do. I called and they got my bill lowered to just $3,500.
I owed $87,000 in taxes and it was scary. I got the amount I owed down to just $3,500. I saved $83,500.
If you owe money to the IRS, don't wait another day. Call 800-906-5382 right now before the IRS enforces liens, levies, or other aggressive measures. The call and consult are absolutely free. Call now. Call 800-906-5382. 800-906-5382. 800-906-5382.
What's up? We're talking to Chad Hoblet of Hoblet Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram, and Woodland. What's going on for Ram Truck Month, Chad?
Well, we're celebrating with the biggest savings of the year on new 2024 Ram 1500 Laramie Limited. I can barely believe it, but right now you can save up to $16,000 off MSRP on one of America's most loved trucks.
Did you say 16 grand off MSRP?
Yep. And we have California's biggest selection of new Ram trucks with over 500 available. Big savings and big selection. That's what's made us California's #1 Ram truck dealer.
Hey, if you're looking for a truck, Hoblet should be your first and only stop to get the truck you need at the price you want. See their full selection at HobletDodge.com. Unbeatable prices, unbeatable selection. Nobody beats Hoblet, period.
$16,012 savings on select new 2024 Ram Laramie Limiteds after $1086 factory rebates and $6,000 dealer discounts. Rebates include 1,000 case construction cash. Must have purchased eligible case equipment from authorized case dealer and $500 first responder cash for current members of eligible First Responder Association. Sample VIN 203287. See dealer for details.
I have diabetes. I'm at risk for pneumococcal pneumonia.
I have asthma. I'm at risk too.
If you're 19 or older with chronic conditions like asthma, diabetes, COPD, or heart disease, or are 65 or older, you are at increased risk for pneumococcal pneumonia. Ask your doctor or pharmacist about Prevnar 20, pneumococcal 20-valent conjugate vaccine, a Pfizer vaccine that can help protect you against pneumococcal pneumonia in just one dose. Even if you've already been vaccinated with other pneumonia vaccines, Prevnar 20 may help provide added protection. Prevnar 20 is approved for adults to help prevent infections from 20 strains of the bacteria that cause pneumococcal pneumonia. Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you've had a severe allergic reaction to the vaccine or its ingredients. Adults with weakened immune systems may have a lower response to the vaccine. Side effects include pain and swelling at the injection site, fatigue, headache, muscle, and joint pain. For full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138 or visit Prevnar20.com.
Oh, I cracked the hull of my new ski boat today.
Oh my gosh, why'd you do that?
It's not like I was trying to do it, you know.
Sorry, that's rough. My bad, bro. Did anyone witness this epic fail?
Yes, there's videos galore, and now I'm a meme.
Accidents don't just happen in sea shanties, so Progressive Boat Insurance has you covered. Take as little as 4 minutes to see what you can save at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Covered subject to policy terms and not available for all boats or in all situations.
O'Reilly.
Check engine light on? Take the guesswork out of your check engine light with O'Reilly Veriscan. It's free and provides a report with solutions based on over 650 million vehicle scans verified by ASE certified master technicians. And if you need help, we can recommend a shop for you. Ask for O'Reilly Veriscan today.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Live and local. Live and local.
This is Sactown Sports.
Little cameo by Simone as we get through these crumble cookies. Stiles and Watkins taking you up to 2 p.m. And it wasn't a great night, Chris. Just waiting. I don't know. Did you catch any of the Nuggets, Suns? And I saw a lot of it. Nuggets weren't able to get over the hump. Just not a great night for the Kings. The Kings are now in the 8th seed. And look, every game things can change. The Suns take care of business. The Lakers take care of business. The Timberwolves take care of business. The Rockets take care of business to keep pace with the Warriors for that 10 seed. The Warriors take care of business. The Clippers take care of business on a very controversial end of the game call. So basically every team, some of them not as connected to the Kings as others, but every team won last night that you would have liked the Kings to see them lose. And tonight you have the Bucks at Pelicans. So at the very least, maybe the Pelicans lose tonight, but we're getting to the point where the Kings are going to have to just win games, man.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I think we're pretty much at that point to where it really, honestly, it matters what the other teams do, but for the most part, the Kings handle their own fate. They control their own destiny, however you want to put it. It's just on them to win as many games as they possibly can and then look where they fall in the standings, because again, Dallas has a really easy schedule. Phoenix has a really tough schedule, but like you said up top, like neither of those things mean that it's going to go the way that we think it's going to go. So all the Kings can do is just put their head down, live by the cliche, take it a game at a time. You can't look ahead and say, oh my gosh, we have the Clippers and then New Orleans and then Phoenix. Just take it. And, not to mention all the East Coast games. Just got to try and attack it one game at a time and just hope that you get more results going in your favor. And really the important thing too is even if they aren't getting results completely in their favor, you definitely hope they don't get blown out like they did the other day, but start playing towards playoff basketball, man. Like this thing at the very least should be a ramp up. And if the Kings are competitive every single game, I still think that's a good sign for where this team is. I know things are getting a little bit late for those kind of moral victories, I guess. Right. But in a way, the important thing is, hey, play your best basketball at this point in the season. If you're going to be in the play-in, so be it. You're going to have to beat the teams in front of you. We just saw last year, we had two different examples of teams that made it out of the play-in and did more than just make some noise. You had the Lakers make the conference finals out of the play-in. You had the Miami Heat make it all the way to the finals. Not saying that's what the Kings are going to do, but just saying that just because you are the 7 or the 8 seed or just because you are in the play-in tournament in general doesn't necessarily mean your season's cooked. If the play-in didn't exist right now, we'd be talking about how the Kings need to get up to just the 7 seed so that they can play that 2-7 matchup against Minnesota. So that still exists. If the Kings can make it out of the play-in, they still could potentially have a really favorable, I shouldn't say favorable matchup, but in terms of from the Kings perspective, it's favored to play Minnesota over a team like Denver or maybe like the Clippers. I think that it's still, success is still tangible here. Like just because things are going ugly or might not look the way that we wanted or expected it to look, doesn't mean that the season's cooked. You're still going to get a pretty good matchup. And, I still believe that the Kings are going to play Minnesota to a really good series if they do match up. I'm sorry, Jaden McDaniels, or whichever, Jalen or Jaden, I don't know which one it is over in Minnesota, but you're not sweeping them. You're not beating them 4 times in a row. So at the very least, the Kings can still hold on to hope that they can make some noise in the playoffs.
I did see a fairly prominent Kings Twitter media person say after the games happened last night, honestly, no. I'm saying the games from last night say, honestly, I really just want the Kings to get in on their own anyway. Don't do that.
No, let's not switch
you
up
can
like
tell
that.
yourself that,
Yeah.
but you just want to get in how you get in. I mean, this isn't football. We lost, but the other team lost, so we're going to get in. It's not going to be like that because there's so many games. The Kings are going to have to win games anyway. But don't switch up now just because the Suns won and the teams that we needed to lose, they won. Oh, I want them to get in on their own.
Okay, buddy.
All right.
I wanted them to earn it. Okay, yeah. It doesn't feel the same if they don't earn it. No. I'll take it. I'll take it if I can get it.
You're going to earn that off season.
Yeah,
that's what you're going to earn. So stop playing around. And after the Kings game on Sunday, this is what is the reality of the situation, Chris. And this is why I ain't too proud to say, look, if the Suns want to trick off games and the Mavs want to trick off games, so be it. Because after the Jazz game, the Kings will play 8 games in 13 days with 2 back-to-backs to finish the season against the Knicks, Celtics, Thunder, Pelicans, and Suns. The window is tight. And you know what? What I will say is anything can happen, okay? And you can still get the tiebreaker against the Mavs. The reality is it would have been nice to get that Mavs game, but as long as you win Friday, I don't know how much would have changed just due to the difference in schedules. The Mavs are going to have an easy game. The Kings are probably going to lose to somebody on the East Coast or at some point the Clipper, somebody, and then it would have been nice to have. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to, I am on this copium a little bit, but at the same time, the reality is you wanted a little bit more of that buffer, but the Kings, they could have easily beaten the Mavs and still ended up in the play-in because of what is left.
Sure, yeah, they could have, but I just think that they would have been in a much better situation.
No doubt.
And also kind of start to make Dallas question their spot and everything. Maybe they start, because the reality is, looking at the standings, we might, if the Kings lose tomorrow, we might need to start talking about like 9-10 seed being a scary spot. And
if they lose tomorrow, they're probably in the play-in.
They're in the play-in.
No,
they are in the play-in. I'm more saying, I think that
the back of the play-in.
The back of the play-in.
No, we're not doing that, Chris.
I'm not saying the Kings. I'm just saying if the Kings would have won both games against the Mavericks, it would have buried the Mavericks more in terms of that gap. But also, instead of worrying about, at that point, the Mavericks probably would kiss the play or the playoffs out of the play-in away. They would probably start to worry a lot more about those 9 and 10 seeds, because looking at it, that probably would have put Dallas in a spot where they're only a half game above the Lakers. And, the Kings definitely can be in that spot if they lose on Friday as well. But, I still think that if the Kings, and it's pointless exercise now, but I really think winning on Tuesday would have put them in a great situation to lock down that 6. I would have put them as the favorite to lock down that 6. Now it just feels like so many things would have to go their way in order to lock that thing down. I'm more focused on getting that 7 seed now because, as they sit in the 8,
getting the 7, hold on.
That puts them in Club Phoenix.
You can't just gloss over that. So
I said this all
I know you
week.
said it, but we haven't sat here and really, I'm putting to bed the 50 wins over here.
Oh, that's done.
Are you putting to bed the 6 seed?
Not yet, but it's on life support. It's getting there. Depending on what happens tomorrow, it's going to be really tough for them to try and eclipse a 2-game deficit over Dallas, or below Dallas, I should say, and then try and get that tiebreaker win as well.
Okay. So we're both in agreement. If they lose tomorrow, the 6 seed is gone.
It's pretty much gone.
Okay, but it's all about tomorrow night.
Yeah, but it always was. Yes. Yeah.
So basically, yes, we're basically, this is, your kid is bugging you to, hey, I want to stay up later. And they should go to bed. And if they do one more stupid thing that annoys you, you're going to put them to bed. And this is the one. The Kings got one more stupid thing, and I'm going to have to put you to bed.
It's might not even be like by choice. It's just they're gonna knock themselves out. Like, it's not even going to be a matter of us putting them to bed. It's just, I don't even know if the situation's going to be possible after that, just because of, again, how easy Dallas's schedule is. It just feels like, a 2-game deficit, and then you have to get a better in-conference record than Dallas to win that tiebreaker. That's just a really, really tall task, and then Dallas is pretty much going to need to choke away the rest of the season. So I kind of feel like it's already cooked, but if they lose tomorrow, it feels like it's pretty much
I don't feel like it's cooked, because I'm not trusting the Mavericks just based on this hot stretch that they're on. I don't think it's cooked as long as they win tomorrow, they're not cooked.
There's still hope.
If they lose tomorrow, it's over. And I'm looking here at the rest of their schedule, and there's only a couple games. Here's the problem. There's only a couple games that you would actually be upset at the Kings for losing. That's the Jazz game on Sunday, and I don't think they play very well on Sundays. I just don't like those games.
Well, what are the next 2 Sunday games? The easiest ones they got.
The easiest ones they got. So those are the 2. They have 3 out of the 10 that you would be upset about.
Yep.
And that's the
all
problem.
On Sundays too. That's hilarious.
There's no other game that you could truly be upset at them for losing. You would be really happy if they won, but if they lose to the Clippers, what are you going to do? If they lose to the Knicks in New York, what are you going to do? If they lose to the Celtics in Boston, what are you going to do?
Second night of a back-to-back.
Second night of the back-to-back. If they lose to the Thunder in OKC, what are you going to do? If they lose to the Pelicans, to me, that might be the one where it's have some pride.
Yeah, right.
You're going to lose to a team 5 times.
Right.
How can you look yourself in the mirror after losing to a team 5 times in a row? They're lucky. I'm going to tell you this much. They are lucky that it's the Pelicans and not some of these other young teams that be getting on social media. Yeah. The Rockets calling out the Warriors and a bunch of different things. Shea out here, he'd have De'Aaron Fox on a post with him. So they're lucky, but that's one I would honestly, Chris, put in the category of have some pride. You got to get that game. Yep. And then the Suns at Kings. It's a gotta have it, but it's not a gotta have it because it's the Suns.
Well, and at that point, it's the second to last game of the season too, and you're probably already decided, especially if everything you just laid out. If the Kings end up pretty much even honestly splitting those tough games, it feels like it would be an accomplishment, but it also just doesn't feel like it would be enough. So maybe maybe that game matters because you and Phoenix are going to be fighting for that 7-8, and that'll determine the home court advantage in that series, which please, at the very least, I know the Kings have been disappointing at home, but if you are going to be in the play-in, please secure the 7 seed. We're already nervous enough about the Kings in a 1-game elimination. We don't need them going to Club Phoenix. We already know they're going to be bumping the volume to level 12 over there. That would be a bad situation. Thankfully, that Friday game is at home against Phoenix in the regular season, but that would be probably the worst case scenario for the Kings, is just lose it completely, just the bottom falling out the rest of the season, ending up with a road play-in game. And I don't even want to talk about maybe being in the 9-10, but this is possibly the track they're on. But again, there is a chance that they win tonight. You start to build back that positive momentum. You have an easy game against Utah. Maybe you can get that win against the Clippers, win 3 in a row, start to really feel yourselves, and then head on that road trip. And you play New York, Boston, Brooklyn, OKC. Can you split? Can you maybe surprise and go 3-1? That's how this season can stay alive, but it all starts tomorrow. You have to start building back that positive momentum tomorrow, and you've got to answer for that 36-point blow.
Look, and I know Luka, he's still balled out, but he is banged up.
Yeah.
Right? And it's a long stretch, and there's no time for him to get healthy. So you never know until you do. When we return, Draymond Green gets ejected after 3 minutes in a huge game for the Warriors, but they were still able to pull it off. What did he have to say? And it opens a conversation about leadership. Stiles and Watkins, Sactown Sports.
Subscribe to Sactown Sports on YouTube and watch the Carmichael Dave Show with Jason Ross, Stiles and Watkins, and the Drive Guys, live Monday through Friday from 6 to 6. Plus view archive shows and exclusive content.
Subscribe at youtube.com/Sactown Sports.
At LL Floyd, we've been a trusted partner to pros for over 30 years. With over 400 nationwide warehouses full of in-stock, job-ready inventory, you'll get what you need. And our exclusive pro pricing means that pros never pay retail. Because at LL Floyd, all we do is floors. So we're going to do it right. Sign up for a free pro account today to start getting pro benefits.
The weather's warming up, spring is here, and so is road trip season. And if you're saying, yeah, sure, I would love to load everything up in my car and hit the road and go on a long road trip, but I don't trust my car. It's not dependable. Well, then go see my friends at Elk Grove Kia. They'll get you into something dependable and super affordable, like a brand new 2024 Kia Forte LXS for $19,988. Yep, at a time when the average new car price is over $48,000, Elk Grove Kia can get you into a brand new car for less than half of that. This car's loaded with automatic transmission, an 8-inch touchscreen with rear camera. It's got advanced driver assistance system, so it's got tech and safety. And again, this brand new 2024 Kia Forte LXS can be yours for only $19,988. Only at the #1 Sacramento Kia dealer, Elk Grove Kia, in the Elk Grove Auto Mall, and online at elkgrovekia.com. Elk Grove Kia sale price, $20,738. Kia rebate, $750. Net price, $19,988. One at this price. Stock number GK9219. Expires March 31st, 2024.
Hey, it's Carmichael Dave for American Energy Heating and Air with a question. Have you recently had a technician diagnose your HVAC system and you were a bit surprised at how much it cost? Or did something seem off about their quote? Because at American Energy, they take pride in giving you honest, straightforward solutions to get that system up and running. Have their qualified technicians come out and give you a free second opinion. It's free. You got nothing to lose but some dollars off of that original quote. They're making the uncomfortable comfortable. They've been doing it since 1981, serving the greater Sacramento area. A+ with the Better Business Bureau. That's why they keep having customers coming back for more and more and more. You can call them and set that appointment at 916-520-9990. That's 916-520-9990 or AmericanEnergyAir.com.
Call 916-520-9990 now.
I can't believe tax season is here already. But look at all this info I have to enter.
Phil's small accounting firm is growing in numbers.
Why didn't I take that typing class in high school?
A data entry specialist could really help him in a crunch.
I got blisters on my fingers.
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. You can schedule and conduct virtual interviews all from your employer dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Planning for spring at Lowe's means big savings on outdoor power equipment, and Lowe's knows nothing feels better than free. Buy one select Ego string trimmer, leaf blower, or mower kit. Get one select 56-volt battery free. That's up to a $299 value. Power through spring with Ego, the #1 rated brand in cordless outdoor power. Because Lowe's knows home improvement. Valid through 4/3 while supplies last. Selection varies by location.
Sacramento sports fans, get ready to score big with the Sactown Sports live events calendar. We're bringing you the hottest acts and the biggest concerts all season long. First up on May 10th, it's a night of laughs as Pete Davidson takes the stage at Hard Rock Live. It's comedy gold and a night you won't want to miss. Visit hardrockhotelsacramento.com for tickets. And June 8th, Live Nation brings NF to the Golden One Center as he lights up the stage with his high-energy performance. Visit Live Nation or Ticketmaster.com to score your tickets today. But wait, the fun doesn't stop there. On August 4th, don't miss the Outlaw Music Festival at the Toyota Amphitheater, featuring legends like Willie Nelson, Bob Dylan, and John Mellencamp. It's a concert experience that'll rock your world. And looking ahead to August 22nd, get ready to kick up some dust with Creed Fisher at Ace of Spades, presented by Live Nation. Keep the adrenaline pumping, Sacramento. Visit SactownSports.com for all the details and ticket information. The Sactown Sports live events calendar, your ultimate guide to the hottest shows and events in town. Stay tuned to Sactown Sports for exclusive updates and your chance to win tickets.
Sactown Sports. Call or text at 916-339-1140.
So, raise your hand if you've heard this one before. Draymond Green ejected. He was ejected after 3 minutes. Last night's huge game for the Warriors off of back-to-back. No Jonathan Kuminga. He knows it's going into it. They just beat the Miami Heat. They're trying to keep pace with the Rockets are trying to keep pace with them for that 10 seed to not fall out of the play-in. And Draymond, this one was basically not even a foul that he committed.
Nope.
He gets in the ref's face, he MFs the ref, and then continues to do so, gets a tech, doesn't stop, gets another tech, and after he gets ejected, there is a scene that will be used, I think, as a meme for a very long time.
Eternity.
Of Steph Curry. I mean, Chris, And look, we talked about Caleb Williams and masculinity and all that stuff yesterday. He was crying. I saw he covered his face at the very end. That man was crying. He
had red around his eyes.
He was crying on the basketball court.
Yeah.
Real tears.
Yep.
Real tears.
Yep.
Have you ever, first of all, have you ever seen anything like that on a basketball court?
No.
Not tears of joy.
No.
We saw him cry tears of joy with the MVP, but literally he was so frustrated.
Immediately.
That tells me, honestly, it tells me that they possibly had a conversation.
I thought the same thing.
We're on.
I don't know about those two specific. I think
somebody.
I think that it to me felt like there was a team meeting that was had before that. Because let's not forget. Remember, Draymond kind of told on himself a couple days ago when he said, "I'm not thinking about the Rockets." You know what yesterday's action shows? Draymond Green is not thinking about the Rockets
or anybody
at all.
Anybody.
And Steph's reaction gave me vibes that, and I don't know if this is true, but it felt like before that game, they had a locker room conversation that said, look, we know how important this game is, okay? We need this game to hold off the Rockets, and, you know, the Magic are a really, really good young team. If we lose tonight, there's a lot of – Rockets have won 10 games in a row. There's a lot of momentum on that side, and the Warriors have the complete opposite of momentum right now. We need this game tonight. And it felt like 5 minutes after that conversation happened, Draymond gets kicked out, and Steph is like, bro, we
nothing.
Literally just talked about how important this game is and how we need everybody locked in. I didn't even know they didn't have Kuminga yesterday. When you throw that into it as well, it's like, what are you thinking, brother? Like, we cannot have this right now. This is, I mean, you know, and if a conversation like that was had in even if it was yesterday at practice or anything, if they made note of how important that game was and Draymond gets kicked out, I seriously think this might be a bit hyperbolic, but I do think it's to the level of him getting kicked out in the finals for kicking LeBron. Like, I think it's that stupid of a decision. If you know your team needs you on that day, the whole dynasty is holding on by a thread right now, and you're gonna get kicked out, as you said, off of a foul that wasn't even yours.
It's just stupid.
What are we talking about? So I could imagine how Steph would get to the point where he's like, I wanted to believe you, bro. I've stuck my neck out for you time after time, and now you're getting kicked out in what is maybe the most important regular season game that we've had. What am I supposed to do now? Steph Curry's got to put on his cape, and he did. Shout out Steph, like he did hit the dagger. He led that team to a victory. He kicked the chair sideline after the game.
What a roller coaster.
My God.
Of events. Steph is crying.
Yeah.
He hits the dagger 3. He does one of the craziest night celebrations we've seen, then kicks it. Then
he literally Spartan kicked a chair.
Yes, this is Orlando, and he kicks a chair. All that happens, and then they're leaving the court.
Yep.
Draymond's waiting for him in street clothes. I'm going to call him street clothes Draymond. That's who he is, and he's right there doing the night with Steph.
Yep, like it's
and
cute.
There's a clip of Draymond looking at the camera because there's a camera following him, and they catch Draymond looking at the camera, and the memes just, you bet I won't do it again. He gets left off the hook.
It's the Thriller look. It's Michael Jackson at the end of Thriller. Oh my God!
Somebody get him back to back.
Dead.
Let's hear from Draymond on his podcast. I mean, he dropped a podcast.
Nuts. This is the craziest part.
That's insanity. This is Draymond talking about what happened.
I said what I said. I deserved to get kicked out at that point. And what I said, if I'm all the way honest with y'all, I kind of was trying to turn my body and angle and go to the bench. And I said what I said, like a little too soon before angling my body to the bench. But yeah, it just can't happen. And, you know, that, like, we need to win games. So.
Good insight. That's good insight there.
Let me get this straight. Is he saying that he's not saying he shouldn't have said what he said?
That's the funniest
part.
Saw
what he said. I'll put it to you like this. The 3 words that Draymond said, I can't say any of them on the air.
Any of them. All 3.
None
all
of the 3 words. None.
No.
So Draymond isn't saying for him to go through, and the memes of, have you seen that meme where the woman is sleeping on the bed and she's got a mannequin head in front of the computer.
Yes.
Somebody says that's Draymond doing his Zoom therapy, because for Draymond to sit there and say, not that he shouldn't have said what he said, because what he said was not cool at all.
No.
He's saying, I should have turned my body more before I said what. Is this in Looney Tune land?
I think that's the definition of not being accountable.
That is literally I'm trying to think of a better example. I shouldn't have punched that person
it honestly
so hard.
wasn't like my actions weren't wrong. It's how I did my actions that were wrong.
It wasn't that what I said was wrong.
I didn't execute it properly.
It's not that what I said was wrong. It's that I said what I said and he heard me.
Yeah, honestly, that's what he's saying. I didn't say it behind his back. I meant, my bad, ref. I meant to say that behind your back.
It's incredible. It is incredible.
I don't know
the
how
lack
you
of
can keep
accountability.
defending him either. Like, if you're Steph, like, I mean, I
He's
fell
crying.
victim. I when Draymond came back from all this, I was like, he sounds like he changed. I feel like the antics are done, but like, I feel stupid. I can't imagine how Steph feels. I can't imagine how Steve Kerr feels.
And look, there have been some. We had a call yesterday with Will 2 nights ago when they were in Miami. Draymond did a little mini chokehold on somebody.
Oh, that's right.
And it was just called a common foul. It was just called a common foul. And he is who he is at this point. I don't. First of all, when is the last time we've ever seen somebody cry during a game? A professional athlete. I'm not coming down Steph's road. I'm a very emotional person. I'll get the tear ducts going. But cry during a game that isn't over and not due to injury. I don't know if I've ever seen it.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, there's the Isaiah Thomas when his sister passed away.
Okay, yeah.
But besides that, I mean,
take out tragedies as well.
I mean, yeah, it doesn't happen because somebody gets kicked out of. I mean, you could argue. Here's a funny: LeBron cries every game. Luka cries every game.
Drop the mic, and Luka will be crying.
He will be
tomorrow night. When we get back, we will hear from Jay Williams, who may be part of the reason Steph was crying, because Jay Williams says people are starting to question Steph's leadership because of Draymond. And we ask the question: where does leadership start and end? Stiles and Watkins, Sactown Sports.
Spring is here. Fresh cut grass. The crack of the bat. And that means opening day of the Major League Baseball season. Join us Thursday at 7 for the Oakland A's home opener.
Now turns, here it is. And it's a ground ball toward third. Riley has got it, bobbles it, picks it up, throws to the plate, and too late. And the A's have won it.
It's the A's and Cleveland Guardians. Thursday at 7 in the season opener on Sactown Sports.
Contact Tax Relief Helpers for details and restrictions.
Attention, anyone that owes money to the IRS. The IRS has restarted aggressive enforcement actions against taxpayers who owe back taxes that were temporarily suspended for COVID. If you owe $10,000 or more, you must hear this, because now is the time to clear your IRS tax debt. A special toll-free number has been established so you can stop penalty fees, avoid liens, levies, or other hostile measures by the IRS. Call Tax Relief Helpers right now at 800-906-5382. Tax Relief Helpers will provide you the maximum protection afforded by law.
I got behind on my taxes and owed $48,000. I didn't know what to do. I called and they got my bill lowered to just $3,500.
I owed $87,000 in taxes and it was scary. I got the amount I owed down to just $3,500. I saved $83,500.
If you owe money to the IRS, don't wait another day. Call 800-906-5382 right now before the IRS enforces liens, levies, or other aggressive measures. The call and consult are absolutely free. Call now. Call 800-906-5382. 800-906-5382. 800-906-5382.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Kyle Draper here from Mercedes-Benz of Stockton. If you're an entrepreneur with a vehicle fleet, I'll tell you that outfitting your van fleet with Mercedes-Benz vans is a very smart business move. Here's why. If you use it for business, you'll likely qualify for substantial tax breaks. Plus, they're rugged, sophisticated cargo haulers that you will love driving. You'll also love the way these things look with your company logo on them. And finally, it is Mercedes Madness season. That's right. Rates are available starting at 4.9% APR. Choose from any of 60 vans available right now at Mercedes Mercedes-Benz of Stockton's Commercial Fleet Center next to their stunning new showroom. These folks wrote the book on what true customer service looks like. I'm a car and truck enthusiast, and I mean it when I tell you that the customer service you can expect at Mercedes-Benz of Stockton is the best. Go see their beautiful new Mercedes showroom just a half hour from SAC, right off I-5, online as well at mbofstockton.com.
This is for the men who never settle, the ones who believe only quitters end a game in a tie, the type of guys who choose the bar with the biggest TVs to overcompensate for theirs at home, and the men who use PTO to catch afternoon basketball in March with the boys. This is the Lodge mentality. This is Twin Peaks.
Who wants to settle for a single TV? With more TVs, bigger screens, plus our fabulous scenic views, there's more to watch at Twin Peaks.
The sewer system. It's probably the last thing on your mind, and that's okay. Because at the Sacramento Area Sewer District, it's our first priority. As the region's largest sewer utility, we own and maintain thousands of miles of sewer pipe. And our job is to get to your sewer problem before it interrupts your life. So whether you've got a slow drain or a backup, call us first, day or night. The Sacramento Area Sewer District. It's a dirty job, but we're happy to do it.
Right now, Maida Chevy saves you $8,000 off MSRP on new 2024 half-ton Silverado LT Crew Cab 4-wheel drives after rebate. It's a Maida Chevy exclusive.
See dealer for details. Ends 3/31/24.
See all the savings at MaidaChevy.com. Together, let's drive.
From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios.
KHTK AM Sacramento. KYMX HD2 Sacramento.
Sacramento's official home for the San Francisco 49ers.
Touchdown! San Francisco!
Sactown Sports. Live and local. Live and local.
This is Sactown Sports.
We just got a call. They didn't want to hang on. They just wanted to let us know that apparently Patrick Mahomes cried during a Raiders game. I don't recall that. Were there real tears just in the middle of a game? Then he got back out there. All right, fair enough. As we break down Steph Curry, Draymond Green, and the question of leadership. By the way, Chris, you'll like this one. This is from Alex Pavlovich of NBC Sports Bay Area. Some Giants talk with Michael Conforto in left field. He gives the Giants 18 different opening day left fielders over 18 years. They're one away from tying Major League Baseball's record. The full list: Bonds, Roberts, Lewis, DeRosa, Burrell, Huff, Torres, Morse, Aoki, Pagan, Parker, Pence, Joe, Dickerson, Slater, Peterson, Sabal, and now Conforto.
Wow. That's
crazy.
Quite a list. Who of those guys did you believe the most would be the starter the following year?
Looking at this list, I'm assuming they moved Hunter to right.
Right.
So
That's exactly what I was thinking too.
I will say out of that list, man, it's tough. Maybe Peterson. Maybe I thought Peterson could lock it down.
Yeah.
Jock for 2 years in a row.
You know who I really liked on that list?
Dickerson.
Michael Morse.
Oh, Michael Morse.
I was a big Michael Morse guy.
He had some moments.
Yeah.
And
didn't he get hurt because of a celebration, right? Didn't he throw his shoulder out?
Right. Something
or
like
was
that.
it a fight? Was it in?
I
think it
cannot
might have
remember.
You know what it was? I think it was when Bryce Harper charged the mound on who was that Giants pitcher? who
Hunter
gave
Strickland.
Hunter Strickland. Man.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Where is
the
he
dude
now?
who could only throw 100,
That's
but at
right.
the same time would go 100 million yards the other way every single time. And yeah, I think he beamed Bryce or something like that, and then charged him. And Michael Morse came running from left field and decked somebody. And I think he threw out his shoulder, and I don't think he ever played again.
During that time of memes, that was when people were and I miss this era of memes when people would take things and just make it more ridiculous. So when Bryce tries to throw the helmet, and it slips out of his hand.
Forgot he threw
So the meme, so people made the video where the helmet just keeps going and goes out. It goes to outer space.
Yeah, that's the best. He did miss.
He missed so bad.
He really tried to end
But
that.
I honestly think, and if I ever talk to Bryce, I'll ask him. I think what popped into his head is, if I smoke this guy, he got caught in between his mind and his arm, thinking, if I actually smoke this guy, I might be cooked for a while.
Yeah.
And he just said, I'm just going to let go early and just fling that sucker.
Only Myles Garrett.
Yeah, and it just is still going right now. Actually, it's in orbit. I thought Dickerson might hang around for a little bit. He had some great cheesesteak shop commercials and things like that. But, yeah, they're at 18. So now you have to break the record.
Yes, you have to.
Now you have to break the record and have a different left fielder as they
You said Conforto's in left today?
Conforto is in left.
They're going to break that.
And I'm
they're
not
definitely going to break that record.
I'm not terribly happy with the lineup. We'll get into that a little bit later as they take on the Padres, try to get this thing started on the right foot. But hopefully I'm wrong and the Giants can get a win, and we will also break down the A's as well. But getting back into this Steph and Draymond situation, really the question is, where does leadership start and end?
Mm-hmm.
Can you actually – the problem is they're basically the same age. Steph is 36. I think he just turned 36.
I think he just turned 36.
Draymond is 34. So they're not – this isn't – when I think leadership, you get to a point where you're friends, right? So this is why it's really hard to live with friends and it's really hard to work with friends. Because if I actually watched the movie, I think it was on Netflix, I might have told you about it, where it's a couple, right? And they are both on Wall Street and they work at the same firm. And one of them gets promoted and now the other reports to his significant other right after they get engaged. And surprise, surprise, doesn't end well, right? It's just really hard once you've kind of crossed over into that friend area and they've known each other for so long. What in the world, when your parents say, you know what, we're going to have our family friend talk to you, because clearly it's just going in and out of your head when you were being a baby kid or whatever it is, because it's just different. So, and that's why he's going to therapy. So how can you put Steph in the realm of leadership and say that this is looking bad for Steph's leadership skills?
Yeah, I don't get it at all. I mean, Draymond will be the first to tell you, like, I'm a grown man and I make my own decisions. And like, I don't understand at all how this could be coming back to Steph in any way. Like, what realistically is Steph supposed to do? Is he actually supposed to physically push Draymond Green to the bench so he doesn't talk with these refs? Like, you know, I'm as big of a Steph Curry hater as there is on this planet, and I'm not going to come down Steph's road for Draymond's actions. No, I think that's ridiculous, man. Like, you know, again, I think that's a perfect example that you laid out. These two are friends. Steph doesn't view Draymond like he is one of his pawns or something like that. He views him like a guy that, you know, hey, I have a real relationship with you, and yeah, we both know that you step over the line, but at the same time, you know, that's just not really my place as your friend. You know, maybe if I truly feel like things are going to, you know, you're going to hurt yourself, you're going to hurt your family or something like that by getting physical with the ref. Sure, I'm sure Steph would definitely step in, but he's not going to step into Draymond and tell him, hey, shut up, stop talking. Draymond's more than aware of what's going on in those situations. He's more than capable of taking care of himself. That's not on Steph Curry.
It's not on Steph. Let's hear from Jay Williams and what he had to say as far as people texting him saying that they are questioning Steph's leadership because of Draymond.
I'm getting texts from people that I really value their decision, right? High-level people. And what these texts are reading is, well, how about the leadership of Stephen Curry? That's where these conversations are going. And in my brain, right, processing information, Molly.
Wait, what do you mean? How about the leadership of Stephen Curry? They're calling Steph out?
Yes.
Oh.
Right? For him not controlling Draymond. So in my brain, the way I process is that it's because I know Steph. I spent time around Steph. We were talking about this during Get Up. We wish we could have a camcorder in Steph's car, right? Like all the things that Steph would be saying to his wife and how these frustrated about because he's one of the most competitive dudes you'll ever meet.
No doubt.
Draymond Green is diminishing the ultimate legacy of how people are looking at the leadership of Stephen Curry. That's what's happening right now.
Only thing I will say, Jay, I think that's in a group of people.
I agree.
I don't think that's like a universal mentality, right, is to think about Steph. And where are you in this, Steph?
I mean, did anybody ever say, hey, Michael Jordan, this guy Dennis Rodman, like I saw him at the club last night. Like what I thought you guys were trying to win shape like that. What are you doing, Mike? And I'm sure Michael Jordan definitely had plenty of conversation with Dennis Rodman, but Mike wasn't going to stay over at Dennis Rodman's house to make sure he didn't leave. Like it's at the end of the day, these dudes are all millionaires. They're all very capable of taking care of themselves. And if Draymond wants to conduct himself like that, that's on him. Like that should not come back to Steph. And I think that's Tim Legler is completely right. Like I don't think that there's really that many people. To me, I think Leg's trying to be a little nice there, but he's saying, bro, that's Twitter. Like, don't listen to 4 or 5 Twitter accounts that are just retweeting each other and saying that this comes back on Steph. I don't think anybody's actually pinning this on Steph.
No, I think that's ridiculous. If anything, I would look at it and say Steph won in spite of Draymond.
Right. Yeah.
And when you use the word that Jay used for controlling Draymond. This man is a father of like 3. Yeah. He's a family man.
34,
34 years old. And you want to try to, quote unquote, control him after all these years. If you want to make the argument that he has been enabled maybe throughout this time by the organization and Steph is part of that, then sure. But this is not a Steph Curry thing. Yeah. This is an organizational thing. And they're just too far gone now to come back. It is what it is. Yeah. So let's put it in the Kings' perspective.
Yeah.
Let's say, and a more realistic version, Malik Monk. Let's say Malik Monk gets another tech. He gets another tech tomorrow, and he gets ejected, and you really need him at this point in time. We would probably be looking at De'Aaron, but that's because they're younger in general, right? And they don't have I guess I don't want to say cachet, but De'Aaron is still trying to establish himself. So I could see people saying, man, where is De'Aaron to get his boy? Kentucky, all that. Where is De'Aaron to get his boy? But honestly, I think I would probably go to Mike Brown before I went to De'Aaron. As far as making sure it doesn't happen.
I would just look at Malik. I honestly, I don't think it has anything to do with those other guys. I think that it's on those other guys. And, De'Aaron's responsibility is to stay focused himself. He can't be thinking about, oh, man, Malik's emotions are too high. Now I need to think about controlling Malik. I don't want De'Aaron thinking about stuff like that.
But he'll talk to him.
He can talk to him.
You have a conversation with him.
You can try and calm him down. And Steph was there. Steph was right there next to Draymond, hearing it all.
You have a conversation with them. Yeah. But after that, what do you want them to do? I mean, there are people.
Again, unless you literally want him to pick him up and remove him from the situation, these guys are always right there next to the players as they argue with the refs. And you'll see, they'll tap them on the chest, be like, all right, hey, come on, big fella. Like, it's good. It's good. Yeah. And if they continue to keep arguing, what is De'Aaron supposed to, what is Steph supposed to do? I just don't know.
Yeah, people make bad decisions every day with a lot on the line, and they do it in front of some of their best friends. And you have best friends that will try to tell them, hey, I don't think that's a good idea. Right. And you have best friends that might say, that's a grown man, or that's a grown adult. They're going to do what they want. People, once you are an adult, that's what you are.
Right.
And you can have friends that tell you, hey, and the thing is, most of the time, people know.
Yeah.
I don't need you to, you don't need to be told that you shouldn't get kicked out of a game.
Or think about it like this. I mean, the way you just described it there, you're kind of describing, hey, imagine a group of friends goes to Vegas. One of the guys is in a relationship. Yep. He decides to go talk with some girl at a club. All right, all the friends in the group know, okay, he's in a relationship. He probably shouldn't be doing that. I'm going to go over there. I'm going to say, hey, bro, you sure you want, we all know the situation. Again, I can drag him out of the club. I can say, hey, bro, we're all leaving.
Yeah.
If he decides to stay, hey, no, I think I'm going to kick it here for a bit. I'm chilling.
Your life.
Again, what am I supposed to physically drag him out the club? Yeah. I could.
Oh, you got to remind him.
Again, he's a grown man making his own decision. He's going to make his bed. He's going to lie in it. And sure, we can get back home and, our people can talk to us and say, hey, man, like, how did you let him make that mistake? And I can say, I tried to stop him. Yeah. But again, do you want me to drag him out the what was I supposed to do in that situation? To me, it's the same exact thing.
It's the same thing. What do you need to remind Draymond that this is important? Do you need to remind your friend that he's married?
That's what I'm saying.
Did he forget? Did Draymond forget that he just
there's 10 games left in the season? Maybe he was suspended so many games. He's just like, what, dude? Like the All-Star breaks next week. Like, what are you talking about?
And it's crazy because out there in the Bay, Draymond had a lot to say about some of my buddies out there.
That's right.
That all they did was give their opinions on the situation, and then he goes out and does this.
Yep.
So he has so much to say. As soon as he starts to feel himself a little bit,
big front runner energy,
super front runner energy. When we get back, continuing the conversation, we see the calls starting to come in now. Also, Sixers trying to get a 33-year-old superstar. Is the generation of 28, 29, and older feeling the heat to win championships from the younger guys? Stiles and Watkins, Sactown Sports.
Trying to find out where to catch your favorite team's games?
Are you a fan of the Kings, Niners, and the NFL?
Well, Sactown Sports has you covered.
Touchdown! San Francisco! It's all on his shoulders. Cox rocks. He fires for the win. He's got the triple.
Catch all your Kings, Niners, and NFL games all year long on Sactown Sports and SactownSports.com.
Beach Hut Deli on 711 K Street is now your place to go in downtown Sacramento prior to all the games, concerts, and events. Conveniently located just across the street from the arena, Beach Hut Deli features the finest gourmet sandwiches and craft beverages anywhere. Beach Hut Deli at 711 K Street is also your premier lunch destination 7 days a week. Come by and say hi to new owner Brad Wakai. He's so excited to take care of all your taste bud needs. That's Beach Hut Deli at 711 K Street in Sacramento.
It's time to trade in and trade up at Northern California's #1 Honda dealer, Stockton Honda. Whether you're shopping new or pre-owned, Stockton Honda has the selection and savings. Plus, get top dollar for your trade. Come in today or go to StocktonHonda.com. It's all a click away.
Anytime, anywhere, it's all here. StocktonHonda.com.
Claim based on 2022 total new and Honda certified pre-owned vehicle car sales from American Honda Motor Company's own loan report.
Join Chris Watkins and the Sactown Sports Street Team this Saturday from 4 to 6 p.m. at Fieldhouse American Sports Pub for some basketball madness and their mouth-watering full menu, 1310 Fulton Avenue. See you there.
Sactown Sports.
Check us out on YouTube.
Search Sactown Sports and subscribe.
If your friend does something that you don't agree with, what are you going to do about that? You can tell them, right? I'm sure there have been plenty of, Chris, a little bit dark, but I'm sure there have been plenty of families that have been broken up. And it's not due to, well, I'm just saying, you started the Vegas thing.
Well, yeah.
You started, what happened,
I guess that's the continuation of the story.
It's a continuation of the story, and behind every broken, not every, but behind a lot of broken families is a friend that says, you probably shouldn't do that.
Yeah.
And behind every broken dynasty is a leader.
That's right.
That says you probably shouldn't do that. 916-339-1140. Let's get to Will, who wants to be a part of the conversation. What's up, Will? What you got for us?
What's up, fellas? How y'all doing, man?
Good, good.
Hey, you guys know better. You guys know better, man. Look, don't even bring up Malik Monk compared to Draymond. Is crazy, man. Draymond been doing this for 10 years. Look. I agree with the guy on ESPN. I think Steph, one of these days you got to call him out, man. Because look, they gonna be out of the play-in if they hadn't won last night.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it would have been really tough for him. I think Draymond, See, Monk, he acts fool sometimes, but Draymond got a history.
Yeah, no. I just use Monk simply because it's a similar relationship. I am in no way comparing Malik Monk to Draymond Green at all.
Yeah,
I'm just saying, what would De'Aaron do in that situation?
But here's the thing: think about the all-stars, the great players of the past, like the Kobe or the Michael. Or guys like that, man, they tell the guy in his face on the court. I've seen many times where they say, man, cut out the BS, man. Come on. But I mean, Rodman didn't listen. But
that's what I'm saying. Will, you don't think Steph never said that to Draymond before over this whole time?
No, I know he said it. But what I'm saying is sometimes in the heat of the game, in the heat of the moment, I don't know how you can hold it back. I'm saying just like we want De'Aaron and some of our players to show some emotions, some anger, some fight on the court sometime too, to make guys understand what's going on. I mean, you just can't be, just laid back all the time and, just show some emotion, show some anger, man, because Draymond might, these guys might get kicked out. They might not even make the doggone play-in, man, they got to win. And my emotion would have been, man, what the hell are you doing?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I hear you, Will. You're going to get a lot of different opinions on this, but it's crazy to me that you would look at Steph and say, hey, 36-year-old, you need to control your 34-year-old teammate who you've been teammates with for over 10 years.
I think to your point, too, it would be different if this was like Pajemski or Kuminga, right? Because then maybe you can truly say, hey, man, like these are the future of the team, and like you should probably try and steer them in a better direction. Right? Like, because I think the 34-year-old aspect of Draymond is a pretty big part of this. Like, he's been in the league long enough. He's made these mistakes already himself. And honestly, like, if we're being real, are we even at the point where we need to tell Draymond these things?
No.
You're telling me Draymond doesn't know he's too extra? He doesn't know when he sees red? Again, that foul, Draymond got kicked out on a foul that wasn't even called on him.
Nope.
It was on Andrew Wiggins. Draymond standing at the top of the key. He's getting mad for no reason. How is anybody supposed to get in the way of that? So, like, anytime there's a foul call that's even slightly in question, everybody's just supposed to get a hold me back guy for Draymond?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Come on. Like, he's got to have some accountability in this. It's crazy.
Yeah, it doesn't really make much sense to me. And it's the same idea, and the Kings don't really have any rookies this season. So the only person, and it's funny to even say this person, but yeah, if it was Keegan Murray, right? And if Keegan, again, it's just a funny thing, just knowing how Keegan is. If Keegan just couldn't control his emotions, then I would say, okay, De'Aaron, leader of the team, go ahead and do that. But older guys that know what's on the line and should know better. Yeah. I'm not looking at my quote unquote leader for things like that. I'm not. They are the longest trio. They have been together for the longest period of time out of any other team in the league.
It's also, like, to your point too, it's a completely different conversation if Steph isn't acknowledging it. Like, if this is different if he's not being held accountable in the locker room, which I also think just isn't true. Now, you can listen to the postgame comments and maybe say, yeah, like maybe they're being a little bit nice on Draymond, but I have a hard time believing that Steph is just walking in that locker room and everybody's like, the young guys are talking, Kuminga and Pods are talking, and they're just like, yo, man, like, Dre got kicked out. Like, we kind of needed him today. And Steph is just like, hey, don't talk about our leader like that.
Yeah.
That's different. But I guarantee Steph is saying, yeah, man. And even in the postgame, him and Kerr will still say, hey, yeah, he's got to be better. He can't be doing that. We needed him on a night like tonight. So they're holding him accountable. And I would guess that in the locker room, it's probably not as sweet as that. I would assume that they're probably really letting Draymond know, hey, it's great that we got the win, but you really put us in a terrible situation here tonight.
I think Steph crying tells us that they've had plenty of conversations before.
Absolutely.
That's how I take it. By the way, somebody on the Sack Chat said Odell also cried during a game, and that reminded me of his famous fight with the kicking net.
That's right.
As well. 916-339-1140. All guests and callers join us from the Folsom Lake Honda hotline. Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop. Let's get to Frankie, wants to be part of the conversation. What's up, Frankie? What you got for us?
Hey there, guys. I just wanted to say that I think what's being failed to realize is that this is a tech based on dissent rather than like excessive force or violence, right? And so I really don't think there should be any type of suspension for him unless he's exceeded the technical foul limits, right?
Yeah.
But this has nothing to do with his issues.
Right. No. Yeah, Frankie, he's not going to get suspended. We're not talking about that. We're saying that you got kicked out of a game under 4 minutes to start the game in a very important game.
In a game where you could have been moved out of the play-in if you lost.
So, no, he didn't punch anybody or choke anybody, but his action still led to him not being available for his team.
3 minutes. In 3 minutes, also. We're not talking about, he got caught up or swept up in the emotions of the game. He just went off the rails. Right. He Jonte Portered this, pretty much. He just said, I don't really feel like playing tonight. 3 minutes in, I'm going to put my team in a worse situation than they were already in going into it. That's the problem. That's why this is a big talking point, is because this dude literally did not care that his team is on the brink of being kicked out of the play-in. And again, dynasty holding on by a thread. And yet again, Draymond Green says, it's fine. My emotions are bigger than all of this.
And he got bailed out. And again, he writes checks that Steph Curry has to cash and has had to cash for the duration of their careers. And that's not to say that Draymond isn't a good player, but that's just what it is. Draymond, that was the 4th time he was ejected this season. Season. He can't get getting away with this.
Cannot.
When we return, we will be joined by one Kevin Gray Jr., Dallas Mavericks pre and post for 97.1, the freak and host of Inside the Mavs Pod. Stiles and Watkins, Sactown Sports.
The Oakland A's open the 2024 season at home Thursday against the Cleveland Guardians.
Swung on and missed. That's the way this ball game ends.
First pitch at 7 on Sactown Sports.
This year, wouldn't it be great to stop dealing with thin, brittle, shedding hair and instead have the thick, healthy, gorgeous hair you've always wanted? Well, now you can by using Hair Volume from New Nordic. Hair Volume is the all-natural solution trusted by millions of women around the world to say goodbye to thin, brittle, shedding hair. Look for Hair Volume at your local Walgreens and CVS or online at Amazon.com or NewNordicUSA.com. Go to NewNordicUSA.com, Amazon, or ask for Hair Volume at your local Walgreens or CVS.
Heard the catchphrase that's sweeping the nation?
Jackson, Hugh, yeah.
People are saying Jackson Hugh yeah to Jackson Hewitt because they love saving money on tax prep. Do you love saving money? Then switch to Jackson Hewitt today and pay less than last year. Thousands of people have already made the switch. Why haven't you? Stop waiting and start filing. You won't get a better deal or a better catchphrase. All together now.
Jackson Hugh, yeah!
Proof of prior year payment required when filing. New clients only at participating locations through April 7th. Terms at jacksonhewitt.com.
Kevin Lewis of National Garage Door. Whether you need to repair a broken spring, install a new opener, or buy a quality Rainer door, National Garage Door is here for you. Call us today to see how we can transform your house with a new garage door.
638-4554 National Garage Door.
Get in on the action at Sky River Casino in Elk Grove. With over 80 table games, more than 2,100 slot machines, and a thrilling high-limit room, you'll enjoy a casino experience on a whole new level. Visit skyriver.com today. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Country in the Park is back May 17th and 18th at Cal Expo with Brantley Gilbert, Dustin Lynch, Jay Cohen, Walker Hayes, and more. Tickets start at just $46. Country in the Park, May 17th and 18th at Cal Expo. For more information, visit CITPFest.com.
Brought to you by Fidium Fiber, Dawson Oil Company, and Good Guys Heating and Cooling.
Contact Tax Relief Helpers for details and restrictions.
Attention, anyone that owes money to the IRS. The IRS has restarted aggressive enforcement actions against taxpayers who owe back taxes that were temporarily suspended for COVID. If you owe $10,000 or more, you must hear this because now is the time to clear your IRS tax debt. A special toll-free number has been established so you can stop penalty fees, avoid liens, levies, or other high measures by the IRS. Call Tax Relief Helpers right now at 800-906-5382. Tax Relief Helpers will provide you the maximum protection afforded by law.
I got behind on my taxes and owed $48,000. I didn't know what to do. I called and they got my bill lowered to just $3,500.
I owed $87,000 in taxes and it was scary. I got the amount I owed down to just $3,500. I saved $83,500.
If you owe money to the IRS, don't wait another day. Call 800-906-5382 right now before the IRS enforces liens, levies, or other aggressive measures. The call and consult are absolutely free. Call now. Call 800-906-5382. 800-906-5382. 800-906-5382.
Only one radio program captures the excitement of hunting and fishing as it happens. The award-winning California Sportsman with Sep Hendrickson. Only California Sportsman takes you where the action is. Live on the water, live in the blind, and live with the top pros and experts in outdoor sports. California Sportsman with Fishing Hall of Famer Sep Hendrickson is your premier destination for all things outdoors. Sep's Saturday Morning Outdoors. Ultimate Bass and California Sportsman, 5 a.m. to 8 a.m. Saturdays on Sactown Sports 1140.
This is for the men who never settle, the ones who believe only quitters and a game and a tie, the type of guys who choose the bar with the biggest TVs to overcompensate for theirs at home, and the men who use PTO to catch afternoon basketball in March with the boys. This is the Lodge mentality. This is Twin Peaks.
Who wants to settle for a single TV? With more TVs, bigger screens, plus our fabulous scenic views, there's more to watch at Twin Peaks.
Hey guys, do you know your T-level? Revive Men's Health here in Sacramento is helping you take that first step toward better health and enhanced intimacy with a free testosterone level test, exam, and consultation. Plus, for this month only, qualified patients can kickstart their treatment with a free supply of ED medication. Call Revive Men's Health Sacramento at 916-365-4566. That's 916-365-4566. Or visit revivemenshealth.com.
Sactown Sports. Call or text at 916-339-1140.
As promised, we are joined by Kevin Gray Jr., Dallas Mavericks pre- and post-game host on 97.1 The Freak, home of the Dallas Mavericks, also host of Inside the Mavs pod. Kevin, thank you so much for joining us.
Appreciate the invite. Appreciate y'all having me on. Look forward to the conversation today. How y'all doing?
Well, we're doing fine.
Okay.
I mean, we were doing better. But rumor has it a random Dallas Maverick is hitting a three somewhere right now as we speak. It was raining in Golden One Center. The Mavs are on a 5-game winning streak, Kevin. What has clicked for them during that winning streak?
Yeah, the only beam that was being lit up was from downtown by the Mavericks on Tuesday.
All right. Don't let me stand out here, Kevin. Started off like that. We got you tomorrow. We'll see. See.
I couldn't resist. It was sitting right there for me to knock it out of the park.
Well done.
Opening day in Major League Baseball. But I mean, honestly, it's been the defense. I mean, this team. I mean, I'll expand it out to the last 23 games because really this has started since February 5th, where this team is number 9 in the NBA in defensive rating. And what you've seen, this team is a new level of commitment on that end of the floor. And it's coincided with the acquisitions of Daniel Gafford and PJ Washington, who have been tremendous for them, especially on the defensive end, as Washington provides them a guy that can guard multiple positions. And Daniel Gafford was already a guy that had a reputation for being a good shot blocker and has only continued that with the Mavericks. So they're getting their cues from their superstar and Luka Doncic, and everyone is following suit. And the key to this turnaround for them over the last 23 games has been what they've done on the defensive end for sure.
Yeah, and a big part of that on Tuesday looked to be Derek Lively, who we saw earlier in the season, and Sabonis really didn't have much problem with him at all. And, on Tuesday, Derek Lively looked incredible. I mean, he really slowed down Sabonis. That was one of his worst performances that he's had in a really long time. Just can you talk about Derek Lively's improvement throughout this season and just kind of how he's developed throughout this year? Because it felt like Tuesday he was really a big weapon for them on both sides of the floor.
For sure, yeah. Gafford had gotten into some early foul trouble, and Lively was able to really come in and really keep things together on the defensive end. And, you saw in the third quarter, he really gives Sabonis some issues. But I give Lively a lot of credit because at the beginning of the year, he was the starting center for this team. And then when they acquired Gafford, they moved him to the bench, and he's been fantastic, coming off the bench. But his maturity, his growth, he's a terrific finisher at the rim. He's hyper athletic, can run the floor, and has really given them some athleticism that they really haven't had at the center position in quite some time. So Lively's been fantastic, and he's only gotten better as the season has gone on. And his maturity, I think, has been something that Mavericks fans have really loved about him, is that he's got a really good perspective on not only his game, but his life, but also what his role is on this team. And that's only been a benefit to him so far this year. But yeah, Derek Lively has been fantastic for this team and exactly what they've needed at that center position for a long time there.
Talking to Kevin Gray Jr., Dallas Mavericks pre- and post-game host on 97.1, The Freak, home of the Dallas Mavericks, also host of Inside the Mavs pod. Kevin, can you give us a breakdown? Chris and I, we were trying to figure out what happened with Luka and the Achilles situation. Can you give us a breakdown as to when that happened? I mean, he was clearly laboring, and we'll talk about his defense specifically a little bit later. But what happened with the Achilles? Did that happen the game before? Has it been something he's dealing with? Does it seem to be something that's just going to not get worse? I mean, there's no real time to miss games these days. What is the deal with his Achilles?
Yeah, it's something that kind of just flared up, and we saw it pop up on the injury report, on Tuesday. And you're right. I mean, he clearly, especially in that first quarter, you could tell laboring quite a bit on the Achilles. But at the same time, this is a guy that's played through a lot of injuries, whether it be, quad injury that he had, at the beginning of the year. Like, he's played through quite a bit. So I'm not surprised that he's continued to play, but nothing, there was really any indication that something had happened in the previous game against Utah, because they had come in on the second night of a back-to-back on Tuesday against Sacramento, but it kind of just popped up on Tuesday. But all indications are right now that he's fine and will be ready to go tomorrow night. So it's something to obviously keep watching. Exactly. I know it's good news for you guys for sure. But it's something to definitely keep watch for the rest of the year, because you can't afford to have an injury to obviously this superstar, given what they're achieving, what they're looking to achieve for the rest of the season here.
Yeah, and a big reason why the Mavs won on Tuesday was just they shot the lights out from three. That was their most efficient night from beyond the arc all season long. And a story with this Kings team, and it's sort of changed here recently. As you mentioned, Dallas's defense has picked up. The Kings defense, the 10 games before Tuesday, had really turned a corner. How different does Dallas look when they don't hit shots? Because that's been a thing that's been really big for the Kings this season is, it feels like, when they're hitting shots, everything's going well, but that's kind of their only formula to win up until recently. Is it kind of a similar story with Dallas where they look like a completely different team when things are going well, but if they're not making shots and have to rely a little bit more on their defense, maybe it's not so pretty?
Yeah, that used to be the case for them earlier on the season, and really over the last, couple of years, honestly, under Jason Kidd, where, if this team wasn't making shots from the outside, especially from three, they tended to hang their heads on the defensive end, get sloppy on the end of the floor. But that's completely changed, especially during the second half of the year, where they're finding different ways to win games. They are winning and dominating in the paint. They're rebounding the ball much better with Lively and Gafford, being able to help out in the middle. And this team has been much more consistent on the defensive end, where they're allowing their defense to turn into offense. When they're turning teams over, they're able to get out in the fast break, finish with the athletic guys that they have, whether it be Lively, Gafford, Derrick Jones Jr. could finish well in transition as well. Kyrie Irving's out here auditioning for dunk contests with the 5 dunks that he's got, this year. So, I mean, guys are finishing well on that end of the floor, but it's all because they've been much better on the defense and the commitment to that end, based on whether shots are falling or not. Because when this team, and you guys saw it on Tuesday, when they're defending and they're knocking down shots from three, I mean, you see the recipe of what could happen when they play teams. So if they are going to shoot anywhere near that, because even coming into the game on Tuesday, prior to that in Utah, they had only hit, I believe, like 10 threes in the game, and they had only been shooting around 33% from three. And of course, they broke out of it in a big way. But yeah, when they knock down shots, this team is they're hard to beat offensively for sure.
Talking to Kevin Gray Jr., Dallas Mavericks pre- and post-game host on 97.1 The Freak, home of the Dallas Mavericks, also host of Inside the Mavs pod. Kevin, one thing that we talk about a lot, and I'm sure you hear a lot, is you got to go at Luka on defense, make him work on defense. Go at Luka and to a lesser degree, even Kyrie Irving. Easier said than done. Chris and I went back and forth with how Keegan Murray maybe needs to be more aggressive, and we looked up some numbers, and Luka was kind of playing that rover at the bottom with Harrison Barnes, who couldn't hit a shot, and Keon Ellis, who did some things, but you're going to live with it. Is it the system that is getting better at hiding Luka on defense, or is Luka maybe a little bit better than advertised on defense?
I think it's the latter. He's been a little bit better than advertised on defense, especially this year. I mean, if you look at some of the isolation numbers, he's been one of the best defenders in isolation this year, and he's a top 10 steals guy this year. So he's making that commitment on that end to be more active and be much more participatory on the defensive end, which is something that we've been calling for quite some time. If you're going to be considered in that upper echelon, which obviously that he is, that commitment on the defensive end would need to come along, and he has shown that. So you can't necessarily hide him anymore. And part of that too is this is the best shape he's been in his entire NBA career. He came in much more dedicated to his fitness this year, and you've seen that play out because they wanted to change styles and how they played offensively by getting up and down the floor in terms of pace. But that's also coincided with the way he's played on defense as well. He's been able to be much active on that end, and it's showing based on the way that he's been playing so far this year.
We've had to do a lot of, schedule watching and things like that for the other teams. And one thing that really sticks out is Dallas does have, especially compared to teams like the Kings and Phoenix, who they're directly competing with, Dallas has a pretty easy schedule comparatively to those two guys. I think I looked at Tankathon earlier. It's 22nd in the NBA in terms of win percentage, and it gets probably easier after that after you play Sacramento on Friday. How confident are you that Dallas is going to take care of business the rest of this way? Obviously, Tuesday is a great start for Dallas to do that, but how confident are you the rest of this way? You have a couple against Golden State. I think you have a couple against Houston as well. Do you feel good about Dallas's chances of really just taking care of business the rest of the way?
Yeah, I do, and it's interesting that you brought that up because the schedule, based off of what other teams have been doing, has got a little bit more difficult. I mean, Houston's out here has won 10 straight games, and they found themselves, within a game of Golden State. Golden State got a big win after Draymond decided to get tossed within 4 minutes of a game. I mean, the West has been, and you guys know as well as anyone, the West has been treacherous this year, and to finish with between 48 and 50 wins will get you, I believe, the 6th seed, which I think the Mavericks can do. We'll see what they do on the rest of this road trip. I expect Sacramento to be much better tomorrow night when they play Dallas. So I'm interested to see how that'll play out. But I feel good about their chances to get close to that 50 win mark, to get to that that 6th seed that they need to comfortably obviously get in to the playoffs. But it's going to be tough. I mean, even, Phoenix got a win last night over Denver. So without Jamal Murray, I know, but still that just gives you an idea that it's not going to be easy down the stretch for any of these teams in that 5 through 10 range to try and jockey for a position here. So
Kevin Gray Jr., thank you so much for taking the time, man. I would say good luck, but I think we need it just as much as you do. But thank you so much. It's been a great conversation. We will definitely have you back on, Dallas Mavericks pre- and post-game host on 97.1 The Freak, the home of the Dallas Mavericks. Thank you so much, Kevin, and good luck the rest of the way.
Appreciate it. Thank y'all guys for having me on. Appreciate it.
Coming up next, we discuss everything that we heard from Kevin Gray Jr. and what adjustments the Kings can make to get a beam tomorrow night. Stiles Watkins, Sactown Sports.
Did you miss any part of our live local shows? Don't worry, you never have to miss them again. Check out SactownSports.com and search our podcast page and play our shows when you want. The Carmichael Dave Show with Jason Ross, Stiles and Watkins, and The Drive Guys. Plus, other podcasts like Return of the Empire, Return of the Roar, the Stingers Up podcast, and Golf to Go with Frank LaRosa.
They're all available right now on SactownSports.com.
Dr. Ken Howachek and kinesiologist Kelsey Graham discuss the Good Feet store.
The foot has a lot of detail. It has a lot of complexity. There's a lot that can go wrong. A lot of problems start in the foot and end up elsewhere. Knee pain, hip pain, back pain. When aligning the feet properly, we can see relief elsewhere. And that's the beauty of the Good Feet Arch support. It can place the feet into their ideal position and gives them the balance, the support, the comfort, and the relief of the pain. The bottom line is that the Good Feet Arch support can be a highly effective pain relief solution when nothing else has worked.
The feet have a really big impact on how the rest of the body moves. The knees, the hips, the lower back especially. If the foot isn't properly aligned, all of these joints are going to function incorrectly. That results in a lot of muscle tension and chronic pain. What I really like about the Good Feet system is that the right arch supports can put the foot in its proper alignment. So all the joints up the rest of the body will be aligned properly as well. And when the body's aligned, we can reduce the risk of injury and chronic pain.
Visit the Good Feet store in Sacramento, Roseville, Modesto, Stockton, and Vacaville for a free fitting and test walk.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your boy Drapes, Kyle Draper. As the proud sponsor of the Sacramento Kings Mop Crew, Alsco Uniforms offers certified hygienically clean lab coats, scrubs, bed linens, towels, floor mats, and an array of mops tailored for your healthcare facility. Our services include convenient delivery to your doorstep. Leading the way in healthcare laundry services in Northern California, discover why it pays to keep clean with Alsco Uniforms. Go to alsco.com to learn more. Again, that's alsco.com.
Rivercats fans, it's time to celebrate our 25th anniversary in Sacramento. Regular season baseball returns to Sutter Health Park on Friday, March 29th. The opening weekend festivities include a live DJ and happy hour in Elysian Landing on Smud Orange Friday, Sandlot Night on Sutter Health Fireworks Saturday, and Easter at the Ballpark on Sunday Fun Day. To view the complete 2024 schedule and to purchase tickets, visit rivercats.com. We'll see you there.
Toyota's Ready, Set, Go sales event is on. Get out there this season in a powerful new Toyota truck. Tear it up on or off the road and explore every terrain with Toyota's industry-leading reliability. Right now, get low 1.99% APR financing on the powerful 2024 Tundra and Tundra Hybrid. Or check out the all-new redesigned 2024 Tacoma. Hurry in, Toyota's Ready, Set, Go sales event ends soon. Toyota, let's go places. Offer available through TFS to buyers with premium rated credit. Excludes TRD Pro, ends 4/1/24.
Capital Casino has been serving the greater Sacramento area in the same convenient downtown location for over 20 years, with plenty of close-by, well-lit parking monitored by security staff and offering the most variety of table games in the region in a safe and friendly environment. Best food, best service, and the best action. That's Capital Casino. For more information on tournaments and gaming, check out their website at capital-casino.com. And please remember to gamble responsibly. 1-800-GAMBLER.
Ew, gotta get rid of this old Backstreet Boys t-shirt.
Tell me why.
Because it stinks, boys.
Tell me why.
I've washed it so many times, but the odor won't come out.
Tell me why.
No, you tell me why I can't get rid of this odor.
Have you tried Downy Rinse and Refresh? It doesn't just cover up odors, it helps remove them.
Wow, it worked, guys.
Yeah.
Downy Rinse and Refresh removes more odor in one wash than the leading value detergent in 3 washes. Find it wherever you buy laundry products.
A lot can happen between falling in love with a house online and owning it. Between imagining living there and breathing in your new home for the first time. Having an advocate who can help you navigate the complex world of financing, inspections, negotiating, analyzing the market, and talking through any anxieties that may pop up, that can make all the difference. That's what the expertise of a Realtor can do for you. Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors and bound by a code of ethics, because that's who we are.
I just can't control my feet.
Coming to the venue at Thunder Valley, March 30th. World One presents The Jacksons with Sister Sledge. Tickets available now at the Thunder Valley box office, Ticketmaster.com, and WorldOnePresents.com.
Live and local. Live and local.
This is Sactown Sports.
Thank you again to Kevin Gray Jr. Really insightful stuff. Any double agents out there listening, I'm sure you know who he is. Dallas Mavericks pre- and post-game host on 97.1, the freak home of the Dallas Mavericks. I mean, the obvious thing for me, Chris, which was the most surprising, was the Luka thing as far as his defense.
Yeah. I was not expecting that.
I wasn't expecting that either, because it did more so seem like they understood how to hide them. Maybe there's a little bit of both, but if you had Mav colored glasses on, you'd feel, and he has improved. I mean, the 1v1 numbers, Kevin laid them out to us. I do also think that when they are in that hybrid zone, if the other team isn't making shots, then everything is going to look better.
Yeah, totally. And, it's also, like you said, when you have, not saying that Kevin is completely wrong there, but like when you're viewing it from the Maverick side of things, it's really big if that is true, that if it's huge for them, if Luka truly has gotten better at defense. And I think you have to believe that that's just the natural progression of it. If you've been attacked so many times, you would like to think you're going to pick something up. So I don't know if I'm truly going to 100% agree and say, maybe we shouldn't attack Luka too much, because I still am looking at it.
Yeah, well, you still have to do that.
Defenders, 7 of 15 typically against Luka. They average 48% against Luka when they're guarded by him. Like, I think that those numbers are I guess, bad enough to say I still think that attacking him is, at least comparatively as well, it seems to be the best option out there. I would like to think that Luka, you just put him in enough defensive actions and eventually that thing's going to break. I just can't imagine you can have that heavy of a workload offensively.
Especially not healthy.
Yeah, no way at all.
And by the way, if you missed our interview with Kevin Gray Jr., you can go ahead and rewind on the Sactown Sports app or on YouTube, and we will have it posted on YouTube.
It should be up on YouTube later in the next couple minutes. Honestly,
that's right. Like, if you miss it, and the highlight of it, if you were curious whether or not Luka and that Achilles is getting better or worse, I have, I guess, bad news for you. If you are a Kings fan, according to Kevin Gray Jr., Luka is basically feeling better.
Yeah,
and that is why, I'm being honest with you, Chris, I really wanted the Kings to get that game for a multitude of reasons. They were coming off the back-to-back. Luka wasn't healthy. Luka didn't look healthy. And honestly, as we discussed how halftime they were only down by 6 or something like that, I think that when they saw how much Luka was limping and they went into halftime down by 6, I think they felt as if, man, there's a bit of a missed opportunity here. We really should win this game. And then it just went completely left.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't act like they felt like Luka was hurt. So that's for sure. I mean, I think that, it's definitely not great if you see a dude hobbling and he scores 26 in the first half. That's bad. Probably going to hurt your emotions a bit. It's probably going to make you feel like, I'd hate to see how this second half's going to go when he's got momentum and the other guys haven't even really got involved. And that's exactly what happened. Kyrie just kind of said, okay, is it my turn? Because that hurt guy wasn't supposed to do that.
Can I say something,
I can take this the rest of the way. What's up?
I got to be careful how I say this.
Okay.
I do think a part of human nature is Luka would make a basket and it felt like his limp was more aggressive after making a basket than when he was making his moves.
Sure.
You can read in between the lines. I'm not saying he wasn't injured.
To your point, I mean, the injury got better as the game went on, right?
Yes.
Somehow.
He dropped 26,
right?
But going back on defense, he was laboring much more. And then on offense, I'm thinking,
how you take that step back? How you do that? How you plant your foot that hard?
I'm like, what's going on here? He looks pretty healthy to me. And then he'd make a basket. He's laboring. He's laboring back. By the way, 530 on the text line, 916-339-1140 if you want to be a part of the conversation. 530, Chris, and I think you might have this memorized at this point. 530 is saying a loss still splits the season series 2-2. So we went over this before Tuesday's game.
Yeah.
The first thing, I'm going to try to do it off the top of my head.
Yes.
The first thing is, and now, see, this is why I'm so bad at Friday Fun and Games. And earlier I said, there's so many Major League Baseball players, and then you had to save me as I blanked. This is why I'm so bad at Friday Fun and Games. I will never make fun of anybody on a game show again. But, okay, after that happens, it goes to better record in the conference?
No.
Division.
Kind of, not really.
It's division winner.
There you go.
If either of them win their division.
Which neither of them will.
Neither of them will.
Pelicans, Suns, and Clippers.
Okay, then after that is conference.
it's higher division winning percentage.
After that is division.
Yes.
Then after that is conference.
Yes.
So
just to not confuse people, it goes head to head. And then, as you said, then it goes to if one of them was a division winner. Then it goes to higher win percentage within the division. And then if those are the same numbers, it goes to higher win percentage within the conference.
Okay, so yeah, just for the heck of it, right now, who has the higher, because it would break all the way down to higher winning percentage in the division. Who has that right now?
Right now, Dallas is 9-5. The Kings are 9-6. So Dallas has the better win percentage as it stands right now.
So Dallas would have the tiebreaker.
Division. Yes, I'm trying to see how many games the Kings have left in division. I guess it would be the Clippers, and I believe that's in Phoenix. The Kings have a game against Phoenix and the Clippers left. So there's 2 more opportunities. Dallas has at least 2 against Houston, and I would imagine one other game to even it out. So there's a chance there. And then conference record, again, pretty similar. Kings are 27-18. Dallas is 27-19. So if Dallas were to win, they would obviously go 28-19. Kings would go 27-19. So Dallas, if Dallas does win tomorrow, which would tie it at 2-2, Dallas would have the advantage in division record and conference record as well. So Dallas would still have the tiebreaker.
Yes. So to that point, splitting the series as of tomorrow, if they split the series, Dallas would have that tiebreaker.
Yep.
And if the Kings win, they get a game back, and they get the tiebreaker. So it would be huge. And as far as the adjustments that the Kings can make, besides the obvious one, making shots, and
stopping the other team,
from making shots, you have to switch something up with Sabonis. I mean, that shoulder, this was the first time shoulder
didn't work.
Was about a brick wall.
Yes.
Lively said it's not
shoulder. That's right.
Shoulder. It was just not a problem for Derek Lively.
No, yeah, and they got to switch it's been kind of made a bigger deal. We were talking about it a bit yesterday on the roundtable. Can't start Sabonis on PJ Washington. That was the first thing I noticed in the game. PJ Washington comes in, he hits 2, maybe even 3 first quarter threes. I just don't think you want Sabonis playing on the perimeter like that. Don't quite get why that was the case, why you wouldn't have him on Gafford. Be interesting to see how they use Sabonis on the defensive end of things as well. And, while we're stating the obvious with the stopping one team and hitting your shots on the other end, you can't let Luka and Kyrie do what they did. You cannot let you know what? You can let them do what they did in terms of total points. They cannot both go 10 of 18, 10 of 19. That's got to be 10 of 25 and 10 of 28. Like you have to make them work for their shots, and you can't let the Tim Hardaways get into a rhythm. You can't let Exum. You can't let Derek Jones Jr. get comfortable from 3. Make Luka and Kyrie be the only ones who beat you. Make sure that they have the ball in their hands so much that the other guys don't even have a chance to get into rhythm. I think that's how the Kings can win it. Just be more physical with Kyrie and Luka. Again, one foul. There was one foul in that third quarter when the Kings, allow 38 points. You've got to be more physical with those guys.
When we returned, we hear from the King on the Kings. JJ Redick and LeBron talk about why teams blitz Luka and why they shouldn't blitz Luka. Also, LeBron says that to run one of the most successful actions in the NBA, you need someone that a lot of teams don't have, but the Kings do. Stiles and Watkins, Sactown Sports.
Harrison Barnes plays here.
Harrison Barnes drives it, hammers it. The Black Falcon soaring into the night sky on a Monday evening in Northern California.
Sactown Sports is your proud home of the Sacramento Kings.
Your MasterChef dream. When you find a professional on Angie to tackle your dream kitchen remodel. Connect with skilled professionals to get all your home projects done well.
Are you stressing about your IRS tax problems? Have you received notices from the IRS threatening to garnish your wages, levy your bank accounts, or seize your property? You need an ally. Allies Tax Relief has tax attorneys and enrolled agents that are ready to fight for you. They have saved millions for taxpayers just like you. Allies Tax Relief can help put a stop to IRS collections and, most importantly, negotiate your tax debt. Here's Brenda, a happy client of Allies Tax Relief.
I owed the IRS around $57,000, and they're about to start garnishing my paychecks. I heard a commercial on the radio about Allies Tax Relief, so I thought I'd give them a call. After a day, they were able to at least stop the garnishments, and after a few months of negotiations, I walked away owing the IRS only $301.
If you owe the IRS, call Allies Tax Relief right now for your free consultation. Call 800-230-5174. 800-230-5174. That's 800-230-5174.
Jiffy Lube has a special promotion going on right now. Simply purchase a Pennzoil Platinum full synthetic oil change at Jiffy Lube and receive a $25 e-gift card from popular brands for food, gas, and more. It's that easy. Simply purchase a Pennzoil Platinum full synthetic oil change and receive a $25 e-gift card. So basically, going to Jiffy Lube can get you a free lunch or a pizza for dinner. That's what we call added value for the consumer. That's why Jiffy Lube is #1 in the greater Sacramento area for oil changes. Visit jiffylube.com for more details and valuable coupons today.
Hi, everyone. It's Emran Pilati, host of the True Sports Card Show here on Sactown Sports 1140 every Saturday at 10 a.m. Would you like a chance to meet Ricky Henderson, Dennis Rodman, Johnny Manziel, Randy Johnson, Frank Thomas, Vlad Guerrero Sr., Dave Stewart, and our favorite Malik Monk, and meet over 90 sports card dealers all in one weekend? This is your chance to do it on May 17th through the 19th at the Roseville Fairgrounds at the Sacramento Autograph Expo. You can get all the information about the show on our website at sacautographexpo.com. That's sacautographexpo.com.
The weather's warming up, spring is here, and so is road trip season. And if you're saying, yeah, sure, I would love to load everything up in my car and hit the road and go on a long road trip, but I don't trust my car. It's not dependable. Well, then go see my friends at Elk Grove Kia. They'll get you into something dependable and super affordable, like a brand new 2024 Kia Forte LXS for $19,988. Yep, at a time when the average new car price is over $48,000, Elk Grove Kia can get you into a brand new car for less than half of that. This car's loaded with automatic transmission, an 8-inch touchscreen with rear camera. It's got advanced driver assistance system, so it's got tech and safety. And again, this brand new 2024 Kia Forte LXS can be yours for only $19,988. Only at the #1 Sacramento Kia dealer, Elk Grove Kia, in the Elk Grove Auto Mall, and online at elkgrovekia.com. Elk Grove Kia sale price, $20,738. Kia rebate, $750. Net price, $19,988. One at this price. Stock number GK9219. Expires March 31st, 2024.
Country in the Park is back May 17th and 18th at Cal Expo with Brantley Gilbert, Dustin Lynch, Jay Cohen, Walker Hayes, and more. Tickets start at just $46. Country in the Park, May 17th and 18th at Cal Expo. For more information, visit CITPFest.com.
Brought to you by Fidium Fiber, Dawson Oil Company, and Good Guys Heating and Cooling.
From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios, KHTK-AM Sacramento, KYMX HD2 Sacramento, the only station in Sacramento giving you local sports coverage from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday. Sactown.
Chris, I think we have good news here.
Really? We could use some.
Okay. I'm confirming now.
Okay.
See it on the text line, but would like to
double your sources.
Yes. Confirm this. I'm looking. The Kings are underdogs tomorrow, -1.
Really? What were they? I think they were 1.5 point favorites on Tuesday, right?
That's right.
Something like that.
That's right.
Well, I guess in a weird way, it's a small victory that it's only 1.5 after you get beat by 36.
It's just one.
Yeah.
Right now.
Oh, it's just one?
Bet the house.
Like, according to
right.
CBSSports.com.
100 gambler.
Right.
It might change. It'll change tomorrow. It'll probably move again, but yeah, I like that. I'm very much into that. Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to read much into it. 1 point is
It's literally marginal. I don't think that's really any indication of anything. Again, I'm surprised that it's only one after a 36-point win. I don't think that the Kings are going to go into Friday and say, "Hey, did you see that we're 1 point underdogs?" Like that really is motivating me. It's fueling my passion for tonight's game, and I really want to stick it to Vegas.
No, but they don't do that anyway. That's not who the Kings are.
Why does it make you feel better?
Just from a fan standpoint, whenever they're the
it's 1 point though.
Yeah, but when it was only 1.5.
Yeah,
it was.
So you feel like expectations have lowered.
Yes, okay. In my opinion.
Okay.
And yeah, either way, it's a bit of a draw. But I don't know when the Kings are the favorite. They don't play like it.
Let me
most
see.
Of the time.
I'm guarantee the Kings have to this is how novice I am about camp. They release against the spread numbers. Yeah.
Yes.
Do we think that the Kings are like winners this season in general?
Way.
There's probably no way, right? With all the amount of the Charlotte game, like the amount of games that they tricked off.
There is no way.
I would imagine. Let's see here. Can we get in against the spread? Let's see here. There's got to be somewhere available.
What is it, Nate?
From statmuse.com. Would you guys like to take a guess? There's 70 games so far.
Ooh.
And this is when they're the favorite.
Just against the spread in general.
Yeah.
So it could be favorite or if you're the underdog, you get beat by.
So if the Kings are +6, they stay within.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Gotcha. That would be
80 to 70 games. Man, well,
I'll say 30 and 40.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, there's got to be some ties in there. I'll say 20.
I'm just gonna do the amount of times that they've actually done it. And out of 70 games, I would say they've covered the spread.
Really thinking about it.
I know.
27 times.
27 times. Okay, well, let's start off with saying there's one push. So one where they broke even, which is relatively rare because, the line has to be a solid number, not a half number.
Right.
The Kings are 35 and 34 against the spread, almost dead even.
Wow.
So it's just not – it's a toss-up.
So it is a toss-up every single time.
Essentially, yeah.
It's truly a toss-up. Yeah. And it can be a toss-up when they're favorites by 16 points. You just never know.
You never know either way. That's incredible. But it's also very fitting. That really does – if anything, that really does tell the number of just how inconsistent this team has been, that even the great – the massive amount of numbers collected in order to create spreads, even they can't figure it out. Even they cannot figure out on a given night. It is literally, like you said, it's a toss-up on whether or not anybody, even the best at doing this, will be able to project how the Kings are going to go. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, and LeBron, by the way, as we get into some clips from LeBron's podcast, did you see now Savannah
I did.
dropping a podcast?
Yeah. I don't know if it's going to be hers, but I saw she was on it, on a podcast.
Okay.
I have not seen
I thought it was going to be hers, which is just hilarious to me.
Yeah.
My question is, what took you so long with everybody else? And, so why
I'd
not?
imagine Braun's got to have a piece of that, right? Like, he's got to probably say, like, hey, like, we all know that what I've built here, let's not ruin, ruin this with a couple podcast episodes airing out all our dirty laundry here.
Let's hear from LeBron on running the split action and how a lot of teams aren't able to do it, but the Kings are.
That I don't understand. Well, I do understand why most teams don't run it, because they don't have personnel. They don't have the personnel. There are certain teams that, like right now, Mike Brown in Sacramento is kind of running some split action. Yeah. He has those shooters. He has obviously Kevin Huerter. He has the kid Keegan Murray who can shoot the piss out the ball, and also the speed of De'Aaron Fox. They play a lot of pinch posts with Demonis, who's now triple-double threat every game.
You need a passer like Sabonis.
You have to have a passer.
You have to have a passer.
How many teams have a guy like that?
One, Jokic, obviously, maybe two, but yeah, I mean, it's really something special that they've gotten. For those who don't, split action is pretty much just kind of what it sounds like. It's you run, you essentially run something to where you can either have two options. You can either have somebody driving off of a or rolling off of a pick and roll, or you have somebody who's coming up top kind of like a dribble handoff, essentially. It's two different options in which you have, and the reason why Sabonis is the perfect person to do it is because not many bigs have the capability of having that kind of passing vision, and then it allows you to have your real shooters and a real threat in De'Aaron Fox be a part of the action itself. You don't have to have your best passer, who's usually a guard, be the person who's making that decision. By having Sabonis be a big who's able to do that, it frees you up to just have so many better options at attacking. And, it's something like LeBron says, Mike Brown dabbles in it, but, we talked about it a little bit after Tuesday. Like, the Kings do fall in love with their dribble handoffs a lot, and I think the split action is one of the counters off of it, but it's just not something they go to all of the time. And that's kind of what Braun is saying, is like, I'm surprised more teams don't just run the hell out of it.
They clearly don't do it a lot, because I don't even really recall it happening too often. I don't know if that's a lack of not having Kevin Huerter, but when it does happen, do you think that it's coming out of timeouts and not necessarily it's not an inbound play, but do you think Mike Brown is telling them when to run it? This offense is really confusing.
It's just a counter. Like, it's one of the things where you run the handoff, you run everything, and it's just something that forms out of the natural motion of the offense. So it's not necessarily something you call. It's just, hey, we're running this. They're giving us this look. It gives us an opportunity to run the split action, and it can run off of that. So it's not necessarily something that's directly called. Again, this is where Mike Brown puts the ball in his player's court, and he says, you guys have to have the basketball IQ to recognize this yourself and try and exploit it. Maybe you could argue Mike Brown does need to have a bigger hand in calling those kind of things out, but that's where the trust in his players goes. And, if you feel like they don't run it enough, it's probably because the players themselves don't call it enough, or don't try and, make the first action work so much that they don't even get to the counter. So, in a way, it's kind of not really Mike Brown's decision to run that as often as they probably should.
Do you think there's somebody out there that listens to this show every day? And of course they do, because that's just growing show in Sacramento.
Yeah.
Do you think there's somebody out there that hears us talking and hears us say, that's not Mike Brown's call, that's not what Mike Brown's supposed to do, that's not Mike Brown's fault? Do you think there's anybody out there that wonders, well, what is Mike Brown actually there to do?
On game days, I mean, it's really just, I don't want to minimize what he's doing, but it's, it's subbing people in and out. It's making sure people are doing the things. But like, I say it all the time, like, Mike Brown is a lot more of like a baseball manager than like a football coach, where, again, football coaches, every single play, you're dialing it in. Kyle Shanahan's having ultimate say over everything that's going on. A lot of Mike Brown's work and his coaching staff's work is done before the game. That's what the game plan is for. That's what watching film is for. Mike Brown's going to practice as much as any coach is in the NBA. He's going to get his players in a situation to be ready, but his style of play requires a lot of basketball IQ. And I think that's just how it is he is asking his players, who are pros and the best at what they do, to have the ball in their hands. And I think that's what a lot of players would prefer. I think coaches a lot of the times get in the way of players' greatness. And I think a lot of players, that's why they would probably consider Mike Brown a player's coach. He really does say, I'm going to trust my guys to make the right decisions. And I know that if they don't, people are going to look back at me and say, why isn't your team doing this? Why don't you have more of a say? And, I think it's a completely fair criticism to have. That's just the way Mike Brown coaches.
Mm-hmm.
In a way, it's kind of like, I wouldn't say it's like Gabe Kapler, but in a way it is a bit of saying, I'm going to live with the results. I might not do what everybody says I should do, but I just believe that this is the best way of doing this job. And, it might end up coming back to haunt me, but at the end of the day, I'm going to go down how I feel is the best way of coaching these guys.
Yeah. And you hear a lot of the post-game presser, and it's a lot of, we didn't do this, we didn't do that. And I do think that he puts so much on the fact that they do practice a lot.
Yes.
And there's been conversations about how much they practice.
Too much, maybe.
Too much. And maybe that is why his post games a lot will sound like him talking as far as them versus him.
Yeah.
And the only reason it sounds like that is just because of, hey, we do practice a lot and we're trying to put everybody into the right position. By the time game time comes around, it's too late to make any decisions. If he's going to Kessler Edwards, we can look at it and say, and by the way, when they did do that in Washington, it did work.
Yes,
they lost the game, so nobody talked about it. But it actually did work. But that is not something that he wants to do. That is because of somebody not doing their job.
Yes.
So those moves, so he is there. If people aren't doing what we discussed in practice and in film, then I'm here to figure out, okay, who do I think can do that? But on game day, it's not the same as NCAA March Madness gets started today or gets started back today. It's not the same as March Madness or college or high school where there's a lot of in-game. The rotations are essentially set.
Yeah.
If you're breaking a rotation, that's because somebody's either playing better than you expected or somebody's playing worse than you expected. So I do think it is interesting on game day. Somebody could say, well, what is it that he does? And it's a test to everything you've
Stay
worked
ready
on.
so you don't have to get ready.
Yeah, it's everything that you've worked on in practice leading up to it versus we don't know what's going to happen today, so that's why I'm here to make sure it's not CYO.
Yeah, exactly.
And sometimes, but other coaches do coach like that.
Yeah.
But a lot of it goes back to the leadership and the Draymond thing. A lot of it is y'all know what you're supposed to do.
Mm-hmm.
Especially, I'll do you one better. Especially at this point in the season.
Yep.
This isn't game.
We've been running this 70 games.
Yes, this is not game 15. This is not game 7.
Nope.
This is
same players, right?
You got 10 games left.
Mm-hmm.
To figure it out if you haven't already.
Yeah, what else am I going to tell you that's new here?
Nothing.
I would hope not.
There's absolutely nothing. And Kessler Edwards having to play against the Wizards, we'll move forward, but now you just lost by 36 points. Does Mike Brown, it's the same conversation as the Draymond thing and the leadership thing. Do I need to tell you that you stunk?
Right.
I'm pretty sure you know.
We all know.
Do I need to tell you that you blew an opportunity? I'm pretty sure you know. When we return, speaking of blowouts, are the blowouts as bad as we think? We look at the point differential for the Kings. Also more from JJ and LeBron as they talk about why teams should or should not blitz Luka Doncic. Stiles and Watkins, Sactown Sports.
You never know what you might hear when listening to a Sacramento Kings game.
Out of Keegan, going for another triple. Man, is he feeling it. Keegan, can he do it? Yes, there's number 11, Keegan Murray. Keegan steps back. He just knocked down his 12th three-pointer, a Kings franchise record. He's got 45 points.
Never miss a moment of Sacramento Kings basketball with Sactown Sports and the Sactown Sports app.
Hey guys, do you know your T-level? Revive Men's Health here in Sacramento is helping you take that first step toward better health and enhanced intimacy with a free testosterone level test, exam, and consultation. Plus, for this month only, qualified patients can kickstart their treatment with a free supply of ED medication. Revive's customized ED treatments can provide immediate results, restore blood flow naturally, and even bring spontaneity back into your love life. With both in-person and telemedicine appointments available, plus free shipping directly to you, Revive takes the hassle out of treating low T and ED. Having an optimal testosterone level can change your whole life, and it starts with knowing your T level. Take that first step and book your free testosterone test, free exam, and free consultation, and kickstart your treatment with a free supply of ED medication this month only. Call Revive Men's Health Sacramento at 916-365-4566. That's 916-365-4566, or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
Join Chris Watkins and the Sactown Sports Street Team this Saturday from 4 to 6 p.m. at Fieldhouse American Sports Pub for some basketball madness and their mouthwatering full menu, 1310 Fulton Avenue. See you there.
Sactown Sports. Call or text at 916-339-1140.
From the 5-3-0, Kings are 10-2 on Fridays. And Chris says that they are 4-4 on Sundays. I don't like Sunday games. We don't have to worry about that. So they're
I feel like they haven't played that many Sunday games this year.
Right.
It doesn't feel
I'm gonna
like
be honest
8.
with you. I'm gonna be honest with you. The Sunday games is all now. It's all now just messed up for me because the baby race that I did was on a Sunday, and that's when we went. And
so
then
you're boycotting?
I'm not boycotting, but they also lost that game. I lost. My family lost, and then the Kings lost. And that was to the
double
Rockets.
Jeopardy. Yeah.
So a lot of losses. So I don't like Sunday games, but we don't have to worry about that now, or for now. It's a Friday game where the Kings are 10-2, and that is good. I like that. So you know what? That's because the Kings, they understand a Friday beam is what everybody enjoys, and it's going to be hopping tomorrow. It is. What is the weather going to be like? I know the rain is coming back.
Not great.
I think the rain's tomorrow, isn't it?
Is the rain tomorrow?
I do like a rainy beam though. It's kind of cool. It's
Not
like
on Friday.
cyberpunk neon future cool. You know what I'm talking
What is
about?
this,
Blade
Tron?
Runner. Blade Runner.
What is this, Ready Player One? What are you talking about?
I don't know, dude. I like cinema. So what?
Well, hopefully we do get that Tron Ready Player One beam.
Definitely not Ready Player One. I'm gonna throw that out there.
Why?
So it's just not.
Two great movies. Two of my favorite movies, by the way.
Tron and Ready Player One.
Yes, sir.
The first Tron or the remake? The
remake.
sequel, I guess.
Yeah.
You know they got another one coming with Jared Leto. I think.
I did know that.
Yeah.
And I can't wait.
The world's clamoring for it.
And Ready Player Two.
I did see that. Yes.
Great, man.
That's Spielberg, right? Okay.
Of course it is.
It is, yeah.
That's
I have
right.
No idea. I've seen none of those.
Well, hopefully we get that rainy beam tomorrow night, and the way the Kings are going to be able to do it is by playing much, 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 much better than they did earlier in the week. Point differential has been really interesting. So the point differential is essentially per game, where are you at as far as on average, are you winning or losing games? And then they throw it all into a pile and average it. And this really just speaks to the blowouts and how bad or how good they've been. And interestingly enough, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The Kings are the Kings are, as far as point differential, I think they're in the top 15, Chris. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. They are 16 in point differential, and they're at 1.04. So on average, they are scoring one more point than their opponents. So that kind of speaks to the blowout thing and how the blowout thing has been bad. That tells me that even with some abysmal blowouts, they are still right. They're still average, I would say, as far as what teams are doing. So if they just stopped getting blown out, they'd be much higher up there. And you know, that halftime stat that we read off yesterday, what is it, 7-24 when trailing at half? That's terrible.
It's not great.
That's terrible.
Yeah, and I'm looking at it too. The Kings have the second most 10-point losses of any of the playoff or play-in teams. They have 17 in 10-point games. They are 22-17, meaning they've won 22 games by 10 points. They've lost 17 games by 10 points as well. The only other team, funny enough, that has more losses in the Western Conference by 10 or plus, Dallas Mavericks, who are 26-19. So they've blown a couple more teams out, but they've also gotten blown out 2 more times than the Kings. So, you know, it's not something that's necessarily specifically unique to the Kings, but definitely has probably gotten, you know, again, when we talk about at the end of the season, you kind of are who your record says you are. That's one of those numbers where, you know, the Kings being blown out more than just about any of the other play-in teams does end up coming back to bite you. And I do think that this team, I just think the story of this season is going to be missed opportunities. It's going to be, wow, that was that year that we lost to all of the worst teams in the NBA. And then you look at the standings at the end of the season, and if you just simply flip those results, well, then it's going to be the difference of the Kings in the 7 seed versus the Kings in the 4 seed. And I just think that that's going to be the lasting legacy, at least of the regular season. But that's what's so great about the playoffs, man, is that truly all of that can change. That entire narrative can be flipped if the Kings have a successful postseason. Barely anybody's going to remember about the ups and downs of the regular season. It's just going to be about how they turned it around in the playoffs and really, continued to build momentum for the season following.
Yeah. Unfortunately, you're going to look back on this season. I wouldn't say of what if, but I would look at it and say, all right, we were a bit stuck because this was the Beam team. You felt like you owed it to them to run it back. You can't really complain about them running it back just because of how much fluctuation you've had with rosters throughout the playoff drought. So you really had no choice but to run it back, but you would have liked for it to end in a different way. And it's not over yet, but they are really up against it here, and they have really missed some opportunities to where they're going to have to play lights out basketball, the same type of light. I mean, the thing is, I think this is, after looking at the schedule again, Chris, you've said a lot about the Suns and their tough schedule. The Kings' schedule isn't literally as tough as the Suns, but if I'm a Mavericks fan, as we talked to Kevin Gray Jr. a little bit earlier, you can catch that interview on YouTube if you missed it. If I'm a Mavericks fan, I'm kind of thinking we got this in the bag.
Yeah, it's just not even close. I mean, looking at it, even like I'm looking at just what is this? This is the 4 through 10 seeds. I'm looking at Clippers, Kings, Suns, Mavericks, and Pelicans schedules. Clippers, they have 2 games against Phoenix. They have a game against Cleveland. They have a game against Denver. They have a game against Sacramento. They have another game against Orlando, or they played Orlando they play Orlando tomorrow. The Pelicans, they have a game against Boston, against OKC, against Milwaukee, against Orlando, 2 against Phoenix, 1 against Sac. Everybody's got tough matchups. And then you go to Dallas and absolutely, like was said earlier, the Rockets have won 10 games in a row, but the Rockets twice, Golden State twice, Miami, those are all playing teams. Like those are not tough competition when you're talking about the fact that, we've talked about Phoenix's schedule. The Kings have to go east and play in Boston. They have to go play in OKC. There's no way that you can look at the Kings schedule and not just say, that's tough. Like objectively, that is just a hard schedule to get through. And you could try and compare them with Phoenix, but in reality, it's all pretty much created equal. They're both really, really tough schedules that you're going to have to earn all of those wins if you're going to get them.
Yeah, the bottom line is we'd have to see the Kings do something that they haven't done all season.
I haven't done all year.
And whether or not you believe that they can do that, we're going to figure it out either way. When we return, we will hear from JJ and LeBron as they talk about why teams should or should not blitz Luka, and do you want the Kings to continue to blitz Luka tomorrow night? Stiles Watkins, Sactown Sports.
Has Monty put together a roster that can help make a deep playoff run this season?
Just trying to give coach options, give him guys that can help us win in a variety of areas. Obviously, our top guys are going to play every game, but there's going to be other times, whether it's injuries, matchups, we've got to have some variety on the bench for coach to point to and say, go in there and help us win.
Tune into every Kings game this season
on Sactown Sports and SactownSports.com.
Contact Tax Relief Helpers for details and restrictions.
Attention, anyone that owes money to the IRS. The IRS has restarted aggressive enforcement actions against taxpayers who owe back taxes that were temporarily suspended for COVID. If you owe $10,000 or more, you must hear this because now is the time to clear your IRS tax debt. A special toll-free number has been established so you can stop penalty fees, avoid liens, levies, or other hostile measures by the IRS. Call Tax Relief Helpers right now at 800-906-5382. Tax Relief Helpers will provide you the maximum protection afforded by law.
I got behind on my taxes and owed $48,000.
$1,000. I didn't know what to do. I called and they got my bill lowered to just $3,500.
I owed $87,000 in taxes and it was scary. I got the amount I owed down to just $3,500. I saved $83,500.
If you owe money to the IRS, don't wait another day. Call 800-906-5382 right now before the IRS enforces liens, levies, or other aggressive measures. The call and consult are absolutely free. Call now. Call 800-906-5382. 800-906-5382. 800-906-5382.
Contractors United, your source for all home improvement needs. A talented team of home services experts is ready to make your projects a breeze. No more endless internet searches. Find your contractors in one place. Enjoy stress-free service absolutely free, with no hidden costs and no accounts to set up. Transform your living space into something extraordinary. Visit Subcontractors United today and experience the joy of hassle-free home improvement. Dream big at subcontractorsunited.com.
Dr. Ken Howachek and kinesiologist Kelsey Graham discuss the Good Feet store.
The foot has a lot of detail. It has a lot of complexity. There's a lot that can go wrong. A lot of problems start in the foot and end up elsewhere. Knee pain, hip pain, back pain. When aligning the feet properly, we can see relief elsewhere. And that's the beauty of the Good Feet Arch support. It can place the feet into their ideal position and gives them the balance, the support, the comfort, and the relief of the pain. The bottom line is that the Good Feet Arch support can be a highly effective pain relief solution when nothing else has worked.
The feet have a really big impact on how the rest of the body moves. The knees, the hips, the lower back especially. If the foot isn't properly aligned, all of these joints are going to function incorrectly. That results in a lot of muscle tension and chronic pain. What I really like about the Good Feet system is that the right arch supports can put the foot in its proper alignment. So all the joints up the rest of the body will be aligned properly as well. And when the body's aligned, we can reduce the risk of injury and chronic pain.
Visit the Good Feet store in Sacramento, Roseville, Modesto, Stockton, and Vacaville for a free fitting and test walk.
Not to brag, but Progressive's Name Your Price tool is mankind's greatest tool ever. Even better than the wheel. Sure, without the wheel, we wouldn't have modern transportation or funny videos of dogs riding skateboards. But without the Name Your Price tool, we wouldn't have easy access to auto insurance options based on our budget. And, well, cars do need wheels. They also need insurance, and insurance never goes flat. Learn more about the greatest tool ever, the Name Your Price tool at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law. Not available in all states.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Brakes? We can save you 15% on that. We have OE quality Duralast brake pads and rotors in stock, ready for pickup or delivery. We also have calipers, brake fluid, tools, and anything else you'll need to do the job right. When you get Duralast pads and rotors together, you'll save 15%. It's just part of what makes us America's #1 brakes destination.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Rivercats fans, it's time to celebrate our 25th anniversary in Sacramento. Regular season baseball returns to Sutter Health Park on Friday, March 29th. The opening weekend festivities include a live DJ and happy hour in Elysian Landing on Smud Orange Friday, Sandlot Night on Sutter Health Fireworks Saturday, and Easter at the Ballpark on Sunday Fun Day. To view the complete 2024 schedule and to purchase tickets, visit rivercats.com. We'll see you there.
The sewer system. It's probably the last thing on your mind, and that's okay. Because at the Sacramento Area Sewer District, it's our first priority. As the region's largest sewer utility, we own and maintain thousands of miles of sewer pipe. And our job is to get to your sewer problem before it interrupts your life. So whether you've got a slow drain or a backup, call us first, day or night. The Sacramento Area Sewer District. It's a dirty job, but we're happy to do it.
Live and local. Live and local.
This is Sactown Sports.
All guests and callers, join us from the Folsom Lake Honda hotline. Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop, 916-339-1140. We are currently underway. Major League Baseball opening day. Mike Trout started the game off. They are in Baltimore as the Orioles look to continue to grow. Last season was outstanding for the Orioles. Basically the surprise of the season, I'd say. Mike Trout getting it started out hot with a home run. Mike Trout, weirdly a guy that doesn't really get talked about. He's dealt with some injuries. People even saying that he has slipped all the way down to underrated at this point with all of the new guys that are I guess, more flashy and not just flashy. I mean, they're legit, right?
Yeah.
If you're talking about the Ronald Acuñas and Julio Rodriguez and Juan Soto's, the list goes on and on. Not too many people talk about Mike Trout anymore on that losing team out there in Anaheim. So Mike Trout trying to remind people, I still got it.
That's right. Yeah. I mean, it'll be interesting to see how it goes. I mean, I know he had a bit of a, I guess, relatively for Mike Trout, a down season last year. But yeah, I mean, I was telling you, I just did a fantasy baseball draft, and Mike Trout was like one of like the 100, like he was in the hundreds in terms of people supposed to be selected. And I was like, some tells me that Mike Trout's gonna have something more to say before his career.
You're doing fantasy baseball, Chris? That doesn't sound like you.
I did it, so I started it last year. I'm actually in a league with Frankie. Me and Frankie are in the same league.
Frankie makes more sense.
Yeah. I mean, I'm more doing it just so I have a good idea of what's going on.
I got a question for you guys.
Yeah.
More surprising season last year. Orioles, Detroit Lions, Sacramento Kings.
Probably the Orioles.
Maybe give it a ranking.
I mean, the Kings, they were right on the cusp the year before of the play-in. Yeah.
Not really.
And they blew it up really after the trade, and it was not blew it up, but
the Orioles.
The Kings
it might be the Kings.
Detroit performed the best of all of them. I mean, they literally were right there from a Super Bowl. The Kings might have been the most surprising. There's been a lot of noise around the Lions for a couple years. You could probably more speak to the noise around the Orioles. Like, I know they've had prospects
for so long. They just kept. It was basically the Astros thing. You keep stockpiling picks and picks, and you
at some point,
hit on them. Gold. So that's why I think it might be the Kings.
Yeah, I guess so. Just in terms of sheer surprise, I guess so. Yeah, I mean, to finish as a 3 seed. Yeah, probably the Kings. It's a good question, though. It's a really good question.
Yeah, I would probably say the King. Yeah, to that point, not just making the playoffs, being a 3 seed.
Yeah,
and yeah, I would probably say the Sacramento Kings. Well, they're looking to do that again, and the way they're going to do it is by hopefully beating the Mavericks tomorrow night. And something that we saw that we haven't seen in a bit since Ellis Island made his appearance, Keon Ellis, was blitzing. Okay, I really don't even think they blitzed Jalen Brunson that much when the Kings faced the Knicks a couple weeks ago. And you saw things change because Luka's a bigger guy. It's not as if they were blitzing Kyrie. They were blitzing Luka. And LeBron James on his podcast had some things to say about the blitzing. And Chris, you already heard the sound as we are about to play it. What did you think about the blitzing? This is essentially what you've been saying.
Yeah, I mean, it's a bit of what I've been saying for a while now is, you know, it just doesn't really make a ton of sense. If you're going to double a guy like Luka, yeah, it might make sense off of blitzing is kind of in nature off of a pick and roll, but you know, it makes a lot of sense if you're going to pressure him immediately after the pick and roll so that he has a tougher time with passing angles and things like that. But if you're just going to send a general double team at Luka, giving him space to kind of take a step back, Mike Brown talked about them extending the pick and roll. If you're going to give Luka some room to get the screen and then as the blitz is happening, kind of take a couple steps back to survey the defense a little more, he's just going to carve you apart. Like he's one of, I think there's like 3 guys in the league that I would truly trust every single time to make the right decision, and that's Luka, Jokic, and LeBron. I think 10 times out of 10, if you double those guys, they're going to find the open man, regardless of if they're in the corner, if they're slashing, anything like that. I just think it's a really, really risky proposition. It's high risk, and I guess it may be high reward, but it feels like more times than not, it's not going to work out for you.
Let's hear from LeBron and JJ on blitzing Luka.
Blitz numbers, because we're talking about 2 on the ball, and this is interesting. So this year, top 5 players that have been blitzed and pick and roll. Luka by a lot, by far, almost 200 more blitzes. Sure. And then everybody, the next 4 guys are bunched together. It's Brunson, Anthony Simons, Dame, and Book. Top 5 by ISO, Giannis, Kawhi, Julius Randle, Anthony Davis, and Bencaro. Those are the top 5 by ISO guys. Yep. It's interesting. I looked up your blitz numbers in the tracking era, and you were first in ISO doubles in 13 and 14, second in 15, 16, and top 10 in 17, 18, and 19, 20. You've never actually been in the top 20 in blitzes against pick and rolls. Why do you think that is?
Because I make all the right reads.
I think it's that simple. You're right.
That simple. Teams know they can't blitz me in the pick and roll.
But there's what's interesting about Luka, I think, he's one of a handful of guys in this era that can make any pass against a double team.
Any.
James is one of them.
Yep.
You are for sure. Luka's one of them.
Yep.
So why are you blitzing him?
I don't understand it. Especially with the shooting they surround it too. It doesn't make sense.
Like I get the Brunson thing has been since Randall's out.
Yeah.
The uptick in blitzes.
Yeah, for
gone
sure.
Way
They
up,
they don't have that.
I get that.
Yeah, for sure.
I get that.
I get that as well. You know, you have to. He's a one-head monster right now with the Knicks, and they blitzing him and making other guys beat him. I saw Golden State do it a lot last night as well before our game. But yeah, it doesn't, because he's going to make every read, and when Tim Hardaway is hitting 6 or 7 threes, you're done.
Yeah.
Kyrie's going to do what Kyrie does.
Yeah.
Luka's going to do what he does. But when you get Tim Hardaway hitting 6 or 7 threes, and in our game earlier this year, we blitzed Luka and Dante Exum hit 5.
Oh, that's right.
6 threes. Yeah, that.
They're going to make the right. That's literally what we just
watched. Oh, man. He got a little bit too specific there, and it started to hurt.
Yeah.
Tim Hardaway, I mean, that's exactly what happened, man, is, you give Luke. I'm surprised that JJ threw James Harden in there. That was surprising. Not really somebody I was thinking of, but, yeah, I mean, I just think you give Luka, if you're going to double Luka and essentially make it a 4-on-3 on the back end, he's going to find an open shooter. He's going to find Tim Hardaway. He's going to find – we didn't even have Josh Green play in that game. He's killed the Kings in the past before. Kyrie's going to be out there on the floor. If PJ Washington's going to be a three-point shooter out there on the floor, you just can't leave those guys open, and that's the tough thing about blitzing. That's why, they say Jalen Brunson, it makes sense. They don't have the guys to make you pay. I guess DiVincenzo a bit can make you pay. He's more of a volume shooter. Dallas, the way that they've surrounded Luka with just pure shooters – you can't give those guys open looks.
So are you saying, I guess the question is, okay, so then what do you do? Just let Luka just try to stop Luka and hopefully he doesn't give you 50?
Yeah, I mean, that's what makes Luka so tough. That's why he's one of the best in the NBA, because it's a business decision. You got to figure out, okay, do we want Luka to beat us, or do we want him to make his teammates beat us? And that's the dilemma you're in. That's what just happened to the Kings. The Kings stopped Luka in that second half, but then look what happened. Tim Hardaway starts going off. Kyrie Irving starts going off. You can't shut off all of those faucets, and that's why it's taken a while for Dallas to build out what they have. But, yeah, it's pick your poison, man. It's either Luka's going to kill you or everybody else is. And that's why you have a top 5-10 player in the NBA. That's the luxury of having it, man.
30 points, something like that, and that's not what the Kings have. I think they're good. I think they're going to blitz him again tomorrow.
I'm sure they will.
I think
teams have done it all season long. That's what they said. He was number one in pick and roll blitzes. And it doesn't make sense, but you got to do it.
It makes sense when they're shooting. Well, that's what's crazy, and that's what we heard earlier from Kevin Gray Jr. They are on a really good stretch, and they have not been shooting the 3-ball well.
Right.
So it's not just, well, maybe they'll miss shots today. They have missed shots on blitzes, and they've still won games. That's a problem.
Yeah, and that's what makes them so scary. That's why, and it's the same situation with the Kings. That's why you have to commit on the defensive side of the ball. This is not a one side of the ball sport. You can't just dominate on offense and win games. It's the defense that really makes you deadly. You could be a really fun team. You can be an exciting team, just like the Kings were last year. But nobody's going to take you seriously, and you're not going to be an actual title contender until you play defense. You've got to be able to win in multiple ways, and that's exactly what we were talking about earlier is Dallas has now had the ability, and the Kings have their past 10 games before Tuesday, of winning on the offensive side of the ball or on the defensive side of the ball. Unfortunately for us, Dallas gave it to us on both ends. They had their A game on offense, and defensively, Kings didn't even score 100. So that's what it looks like if you're able to put it together, both sides of the ball together for one game. But I'm sure Dallas, if that game's going to be ugly on Friday, I'm sure Dallas has the capability now of winning 102 to 108. So that's what makes a team like them so scary when they're locked in on defense. But the reverse is for the Kings, they can be that good too. They just have to commit on the defensive end, and you can't allow Dallas to score 136 or whatever it was the other day.
Coming up next, we switch over to Niners for a little bit to hear from a former Niners player who felt, quote, extremely disrespected when they moved on. Stiles and Watkins, Sactown Sports.
Subscribe to Sactown Sports on YouTube and watch the Carmichael Dave Show with Jason Ross, Stiles and Watkins, and the Drive Guys, live Monday through Friday from 6 to 6. Plus, view archive shows and exclusive content.
Subscribe at youtube.com/Sactown Sports.
It's time to trade in and trade up at Northern California's #1 Honda dealer, Stockton Honda. Whether you're shopping new or pre-owned, Stockton Honda has the selection and savings. Plus, get top dollar for your trade. Come in today or go to StocktonHonda.com. It's all a click away.
Anytime, anywhere, it's all here. StocktonHonda.com.
Claim based on 2022 total new and Honda certified pre-owned vehicle car sales from American Honda Motor Company's own lawn report.
Sacramento sports fans, get ready to score big with the Sactown Sports live event calendar. We're bringing you the hottest acts and the biggest concerts all season long. First off, on May 10th, it's a night of laughs as Pete Davidson takes the stage at Hard Rock Live. It's comedy gold and a night you won't want to miss. Visit hardrockhotelsacramento.com for tickets. And June 8th, Live Nation brings NF to the Golden One Center as he lights up the stage with his high-energy performance. Visit Live Nation or Ticketmaster.com to score your tickets today. But wait, the fun doesn't stop there. On August 4th, don't miss the Outlaw Music Festival at the Toyota Amphitheater, featuring legends like Willie Nelson, Bob Dylan, and John Mellencamp. It's a concert experience that'll rock your world. And looking ahead to August 22nd, get ready to kick up some dust with Creed Fisher at Ace of Spades, presented by Live Nation. Keep the adrenaline pumping, Sacramento. Visit SactownSports.com for all the details and ticket information. The Sactown Sports live events calendar, your ultimate guide to the hottest shows and events in town. Stay tuned to Sactown Sports for exclusive updates and your chance to win tickets.
Beachhead Deli on 711 K Street is now your place to go in downtown Sacramento prior to all the games, concerts, and events. Conveniently located just across the street from the arena, Beachhead Deli features the finest gourmet sandwiches and craft beverages anywhere. Beachhead Deli at 711 K Street is also your premier lunch destination 7 days a week. Come by and say hi to new owner Brad Wakai. He's so excited to take care of all your taste bud needs. That's Beachhead Deli at 711 K Street in Sacramento.
Hey, it's Carmichael Dave inviting you to make the switch to electric this spring and save big with American Energy. Stay ahead of those spiking energy bills this summer with up to $9,000 in rebates on a new ultra-high efficiency comfort system. American Energy is providing huge rebates from SMUD as well as spring specials by installing one of many incredibly efficient AC options available to you right now. Get rid of those fluctuating gas bills in the winter and switch to year-round all-electric with American Energy. Let them perform a free in-home energy efficiency analysis and see where they can help you save for the warmer months ahead. These guys are the best. Been serving the greater Sacramento area since 1981. A+ from the Better Business Bureau. Learn more by calling 916-520-9990. That's 916-520-9990.
Call 916-520-9990 now.
Kevin Lewis of National Garage Door. Whether you need to repair a broken spring, install a new opener, or buy a quality Rainer door, National Garage Door is here for you. Call us today to see how we can transform your house with a new garage door.
638-4554 National Garage Door.
Sactown Sports. Call or text at 916-339-1140.
Eric Armstead also has a podcast, and he was recently on it. He said, first episode of season 2, and he's talking about, obviously, his departure from the 49ers. He had a very interesting career with the 49ers. A lot of people thought that he didn't really live up to expectations, but he did show up in big games as well. We'll definitely hear from Nate, one of our Niners insiders on this, who doubles as a board op / producer for us. And just looking at the contract, I mean, over 5 years, 2020. So he was with the Niners from 2015 to 2024. His first contract, which was entry level, was $9.8 million. Okay. He signed a contract in 2020, which was 5 years, $85 million. And he still feels disrespected. Most recently, he signed a 3-year deal for $43 million. This man is doing well.
Yeah.
And he's from Sacramento too.
Yes. Shout out.
Dude, that's a lot of cash flow. I'm not in anybody's pockets, but he's doing very well.
Love that.
For himself, and he's still, whatever he's getting from this podcast as well. He's on the podcast talking about how he felt, what was it, quote, extremely disrespected for how things ended. Let's hear from Eric Armstead as he talks about his time with the Niners.
A lot has happened this offseason. I'm no longer with the 49ers. I have a new team. First off, I want to say, I don't have any animosity towards the organization, Kyle, John, the York family. I did feel extremely disrespected. They extended an offer to me, $1 million, 9 years of me being there. The fans deserve to know what happened. I had to make some decisions.
Yeah, and if you heard that little cutoff right there, that was in the clip itself. He cut off the actual amount of dollars that they offered him because he's like, I feel extremely disrespected. They offered me dollars. And
interesting.
I don't know if that's like a teaser because this was all in like you said, it's him setting up episode 1, season 2 of my pod. I don't know if he's going to reveal exactly what that dollar figure was or, if that's just a really good podcast tease right there.
Yeah.
But yeah, it definitely seems as if something in that negotiation process went awry. But I think we've, from the analyst or we've been talking about this team for the past year or so perspective, we've kind of seen this coming as well. I think that, Eric, I think was optimistic that they would get something done. I know there was talk that maybe they were just going to restructure the deal and maybe figure something out there. Sounds to me like Eric maybe was expecting to get a bit. I mean, you said he was there for 9 years. I think he was expecting to get a little bit of some veteran treatment, a little bit of good locker room presence treatment. He's been there, Walter Payton Man of the Year representative for a long time now. I think he kind of expected a bit more respect than what he ended up getting. We can't really speak to exactly how disrespectful the offer is until we hear exactly what that figure was.
How often do players not feel disrespected? How
That's
often
a great point,
unless you stay somewhere forever?
Right. Udonis Haslam.
Right. At some point, whether it's, I remember watching
we just went this with Brandon Crawford, right?
Yeah, exactly. And how much of it is them being realistic? How much of that is them having that mindset that also helped them get to the pro level? But it gets to a point where, all right, man, everybody,
right?
Yeah. Everybody is disrespected.
Yeah.
Everybody deserves more money. Yeah. Everybody deserves this. He was in a peculiar situation because of the fact that he did show up in a lot of big games.
Yeah, right.
But we cannot pay you to only show up in big games.
Right.
We got to pay you
DH or something,
to show up in every game. And that's how things end. He goes off to Jacksonville, who are also are interested in Brandon Ayuk. So they're interested in everybody from the Niners. And I think he'll be remembered as somebody who had some good moments, but ultimately you just hope that you had more. Nate, what were your thoughts on Eric Armstead and everything that he had to say and really just his career with the Niners?
So Chris just asked me this too, or a similar question in the break. Buckner or Armstead was the right move made back then. To answer your question first, I got nothing but love for Eric Armstead, especially Elk Grove guy. I think that's awesome. I mean, this is the business, like you guys were saying. I'm a huge fan. I went pretty in depth on this on Return of the Empire this week. If you guys want to listen, but
is that on YouTube?
This week it's podcast only. Every episode's are on our so iTunes, all those spots, but wherever. YouTube when we're live during the season. Thanks for asking.
Yes.
Eric Armstead, I got nothing but love. The disrespect thing is fine. I appreciate what he said just now. Like, seems like he had a personal connection with those guys. I mean, he's a 10-year pro. It's he's getting deep into his career, so he's gonna have to go be a role player somewhere else because he didn't want to play ball and didn't want to restructure like every other veteran on this team seemingly did this year. Even guys down to
Kyle
Juszczyk. Yeah, Juszczyk. Kittle restructured. Warner restructured. Sorry, I got some.
You're good.
I got some going on in my throat. I just think it was time, and he has a relationship with Trent Baalke.
Right.
I think they overlapped 1 year in San Francisco. So going to Jacksonville, where he is the GM, made sense. They need help on the front line. They need help in a lot of places, but I'm not mad. Nothing. I got nothing but love for Eric. He might be a jersey I have someday. Maybe I should already have one. I don't know. I mean, I'm rocking. Yeah, it's but when you ask Buckner over Armstead, my opinion is that it was a financial thing at the time. It was a money thing. I think a big part of John Lynch's game plan changed as a GM when he saw what the Rams did in 21. And they just spent all this money, and the cap seemingly was a fake thing and not real. So you could see he made some moves after that, like bringing in McCaffrey and paying these guys different ways. And obviously Trey Lance was going to be a part of that. And now it's Brock with the paying the quarterback a low amount of money. But I'm not upset when they let go of Buckner. I'm here for Armstead. Nothing but love, really, from my point of view. At all. But also, I guess the Eric Armstead podcast is going to drop here at 1 p.m. So we might get that number in the next 10 minutes or so. And if we do, I'll update you guys.
Is there a world where he can feel disrespected just because he's an athlete, but he can feel disrespected, but not that the Niners disrespected him? I don't know how to say it, because obviously the Niners do respect him.
Right.
But it's a production thing. And it's, hey, and they have the same projections that other people have. And you've been with a team and a franchise for so long. It's, hey, we're not trying to disrespect you here. This is what it seems like to me. And if you look at the numbers, Eric, I don't really know how you can say otherwise. For this, if you want to stay on this team, everybody knows our situation. Everybody knows our situation.
I think a big thing is injury, though, too, is that the injury and not being available. You said production, but I think injury is such a vital part of the NFL and the Niners and Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch, the injuries they've had to deal with. Luckily, the past year was relatively well. Take out Hufanga and a couple dings there, and obviously Greenlaw, but I think that is a huge part of this contract was injury.
When we return, March Madness is back. Someone on the 4-letter network is saying that one of the teams could make the playoffs in the NBA. And I'm not kidding. Stiles and Watkins, Sactown Sports.
Spring is here. Fresh cut grass. The crack of the bat. And that means opening day of the Major League Baseball season. Join us Thursday at 7 for the Oakland A's home opener.
Now it turns, here it is. And it's a ground ball toward third. Riley has got it, bobbles it, picks it up, throws it up plate, and too late. And the A's have won it.
It's the A's and Cleveland Guardians. Thursday at 7 in the season opener on Sactown Sports.
Flooring is your game. We'll help you win it. Because at LL Flooring, all we do is floors. You want decor?
Strike.
You want plumbing?
You're out.
LL Flooring has been helping pros knock it out of the park for over 30 years. Visit one of our 400 nationwide warehouses for one-on-one service, extensive inventory, and exclusive pro pricing. Get the pro treatment you deserve. Enroll today, online or in-store. LL Flooring, every step covered.
Ball forward, take your base.
The only thing worse than a pitcher running out of gas on the mound is your old phone running out of storage for your photos in the stands.
Goodbye, home run.
Switch to Verizon and get a great deal on a new iPhone 15 Pro with tons of storage for all the ballpark picks you want. Just trade in your iPhone, any model, in any condition, so you'll feel like you're winning, even when your team's not. Trade in any iPhone in any condition for a great deal on iPhone 15 Pro with unlimited Ultimate and get iPad and Apple Watch SE with eligible service plan. Only on Verizon.
We're going abroad for the first time in years. To Spain. So we started using Babbel.
And started learning Spanish fast.
With Babbel, you can start having conversations in another language in just 3 weeks.
¿Cómo te llamas? ¿Cómo te llamas?
When you learn a language, you want to actually use it. Babbel is designed with that goal in mind.
In just 3 weeks, we're starting to have conversations in Spanish. Gracias, Babbel.
Babbel, language for life. Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. That's Babbel.com.
What's up? We're talking to Chad Hoblet of Hoblet Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Woodland. Chad, what's going on for the Jeep Celebration event?
Save big on your next off-road adventure when you get $15,000 off MSRP on remaining new 2023 Jeep Gladiator Sport, Rubicon, and Mojave. You pick.
My wife has one of those Jeep Gladiator trucks. She loves it.
Everyone I know that has a Gladiator loves them. And we have 16 to choose from. We're here to help you find the vehicle you need at the best possible price. That's why we don't have a bunch of dealer markups, surprise add-ons, or fees. At Hoblet, you get the small town experience with the big city savings and selection.
This savings can't last long. Don't miss your chance to save big with Hoblet. See their full selection at HobletDodge.com. Unbeatable prices, unbeatable selection. Nobody beats Hoblet, period.
$15,000 in total net savings after national standalone 15% of MSRP factory rebate. Sample VIN 566-279. 2023 Jeep Gladiator Rubicon with $94.94 factory rebates and $55.06 dealer discount. $15,000 total net savings. 5 at each net savings. See dealer for details.
Contact Tax Relief Helpers for details and restrictions.
Attention, anyone that owes money to the IRS. The IRS has restarted aggressive enforcement actions against taxpayers who owe back taxes that were temporarily suspended for COVID. If you owe $10,000 or more, you must hear this because now is the time to clear your IRS tax debt. A special toll-free number has been established so you can stop penalty fees, avoid liens, levies, or other hostile measures by the IRS. Call Tax Relief Helpers right now at 800-906-5382. Tax Relief Helpers will provide you the maximum protection afforded by law.
I got behind on my taxes and owed $48,000. I didn't know what to do. I called and they got my bill lowered to just $3,500.
I owed $87,000 in taxes and it was scary. I got the amount I owed down to just $3,500. I saved $83,500.
If you owe money to the IRS, don't wait another day. Call 800-906-5382 right now before the IRS enforces liens, levies, or other aggressive measures. The call and consult are absolutely free. Call now. Call 800-906-5382. 800-906-5382. 800-906-5382.
Calling all sports fans. Experience the ultimate game day atmosphere at Fieldhouse, Sacramento's premier sports bar. With TVs scattered throughout the pub, you'll never miss a moment of the action. From football and basketball to baseball, MMA, boxing, and beyond. Voted as the #1 sports bar in Sacramento, we're your destination for all things sports. Swing by our convenient location at 1310 Fulton Avenue, or you can order online for delivery or pickup. Join us at Fieldhouse American Sports Pub, where every game is front and center.
From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios.
Your home for Kings basketball for over 25 seasons.
No look, Bibby to Weber down the lane, flying jam. There's your play of the night right there. It's inside is Sabonis, a two-hand rip, a brilliant pass from De'Aaron Fox.
KHTKAM Sacramento, KYMX HD2 Sacramento.
Sactown Sports.
Live and local. Live and local. This is Sactown Sports.
March Madness returns tonight. How's everyone's bracket doing? The bracket, Chris, the huge bracket that Jason Ross puts on. Not doing too good in that one.
You're not?
Well, I'm hanging around, but I just think even if Houston wins, somebody will have more points ahead of me.
Yeah, Chris, who you got winning?
I'm sitting at 21st right now in Jason's bracket.
What? Where am I?
Yeah.
I know.
I'm at 201.
I also have Houston. Alan, do you really want me to look through this entire list of people?
I think I'm 136. Just look for A Sizzle's Brizzle.
Yeah.
Is that actually what it is? Okay, well, I'm going to be here for a while, so go ahead and talk.
I know where I'm at. I'm at like 121 or something like
Chris, who do you have coming out?
Houston.
Houston. Oh, you both
got
have Houston.
Yeah, so that's why I'm saying, there's no situation like that in the other bracket that I'm in. So Chris is basically blocking me.
Just says Alan Stiles. Thankfully, it just says Alan Stiles. It does not say Ace Sizzles Brizzle or whatever. Ace Sizzles Brisket. I don't know what.
Hopefully, there's not too much gristle.
You're sitting at what is it? You said 121. You're actually 138th.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, you know, a lot. We probably don't have the same Final Four, so they're back in action tonight. And earlier this week, somebody from ESPN, Greeny, they're talking about something else, and Greeny just ends with this random bomb that it sounds like he's serious, and then it cuts off. Here he is.
What has been the most impressive team in the tournament so far? UConn. It's not even a question. Yeah. They are a freight train. That's the way they beat you. They out-execute you. But their attention to detail and how they're coached makes them the best team in the country.
Yeah, they would make the playoffs in the NBA's Eastern Conference. That's how good they are. That far. Yes, they would.
You being serious or not?
Come on.
I mean, I get that he's maybe trying to be funny for a second there, but like that's ridiculous. I mean, I don't even know why that would come to your head. Like that's just not happening. I know we've asked this question about like Kentucky teams in the past, and at the very least, like those Kentucky teams would have, you know, Patrick Patterson, DeMarcus Cousins, Eric Bledsoe, and John Wall. Like, okay, it's 4 pros. At least it kind of makes a little bit of sense, but this is ridiculous, man. This is absolutely, not to sound too much like DeMarcus Cousins, but this is getting ridiculous. Okay, what are we doing here? To say that, I know he even tried to throw in the caveat, I said Eastern Conference team. Get out of here. I mean, you're pretty much saying that Connecticut could go 500 right now in the NBA. Get out of here. That's absolutely ridiculous. There's teams out there that have, I mean, Victor Wembanyama can only lead his team to 17 wins. Okay, there's no way that anybody on Connecticut is doing anything that's moving them. You know, they're not. I'd be surprised if they got 5, honestly.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
Insane. It's insane
to say, and it is a good reminder of those Kentucky years. I remember those conversations.
Pick your poison, man. You can do the AD case. What was it? AD and Michael Kidd-Gilchrist years. There's so many.
And the John Wall years as well. And it happens in the NFL when Alabama was just out of control, and there's a team that just can't even win a game. It's something to do, and this is how you can tell we're getting closer to the summer once Major League Baseball is underway, and it's the only thing they have. And obviously, once the NBA ends, that is very much a summer thing. And well, who could you win? And it seems like it's starting to happen now.
I can't wait for us to go in depth on. Would the women's champion beat the men's champion of this year? Like, it's just like, why do we have to do this? These just ridiculous, hyperbolic, you know, what would happen if it happens every single year. And you're right. Like, it is a sign that maybe the content game is slowing down a little bit, because I mean, it's one of those where I'm not even sure it's worth the conversation, because it's so ridiculous to even throw out there. I mean, bless these college kids. I know they're staying in school longer than before. It's not like, you know, UConn has a bunch of, you know, 17, 18-year-olds out there. But at the same time, like, no, these guys are not. And the jump from college to NBA is absurd. Like, there's not a bigger leap in basketball. And yeah, I mean, it's just insane.
We have an update. This is a pretty big update, as something broke last week, and we weren't sure if that meant that this person would come back sooner rather than later. After that, this person has not played, and it doesn't seem like he's going to play tomorrow. Sasha Vezenkov, we have sound coming out of the Kings media, and we will get some of that sound for you before the show ends. But long story short, Sasha Vezenkov says he is getting closer to a return, but it was a re-injury from a previous ankle injury from about a week or two before, so it takes more time, which tells me he is not playing tomorrow.
Well, I think we knew some of that information before, because if we remember, it was he had hurt one ankle and then had came back from that ankle injury, and then the very next game hurt his other ankle. So we had kind of known that it was a both ankle issue. I don't know. The thing that I still haven't figured out is has this period been because of a re-aggravation, or has it been a reconditioning that he's gone through? Because that to me tells me whether or not how close we are to his return. It doesn't sound like from just the quotes that I'm reading and seeing here from a couple of the media people out there, it doesn't seem like he's trending towards coming back. But at the same time, I just wonder where, even now, it doesn't sound, unless we hear it in the sound, it doesn't sound like we have more clarity as to what has been going on these past couple weeks.
Yeah, and you could use him. You definitely could use him. I know he hasn't really been in the rotation, but the problem is you don't know. You know where Sasha has been at when this team is at full strength. He hasn't been playing. But missing Kevin Huerter and missing Trey Lyles, that would have been nice to just have that break in case of emergency, and maybe he hit some shots for you. But you are not going to have him. More than likely, you will not have him tomorrow, which is it's a tough one.
Yeah,
it's a tough one.
They're also saying Trey Lyles has ice wrap on his knees, but he was out shooting with the team, so don't really know what that says. I mean, it clearly is saying that Trey is still feeling it, especially hurting his MCL. Not great to hear that he's icing his knees up, but at the same time is at least able to go out on the floor and get some shots up. So sounds to me like he's probably where Sasha was a week ago, but who knows in terms of the recovery when those guys will be back. But again, Sasha, even if he is going to come back, has a very, very tight window in which it seems like he's going to be able to play and Trey won't. And as the days continue to go on, that window gets smaller and smaller and just less and less likely that we're going to see Sasha again this season.
And then whether the Kings, let's say the Kings get into the playoffs, at that point in time, somebody like Sasha, who hasn't gotten a ton of time either way, how do you even navigate that? He gets cleared. You're in the throes of a 7-game series with the Timberwolves. Let's say they go ice cold. Would you, even if they went ice cold, and maybe it's different with Kevin Huerter out, but do you even think to put Sasha in at this point?
I would think so. I mean, if they're getting killed, there's no harm.
But not if they're getting killed. I'm saying you're looking for something. You're looking for something. Do you just ride with who you've had, or
definitely? Yeah, I would think so.
Yeah. So you don't think Sasha gets in unless something's out of hand?
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, even now I'm starting to trend towards, he saying he's not going to get any time by the end of the season might be a bit of a stretch, because who knows, those last couple games, if they don't mean anything, he might, get thrown out there, but more so in terms of, can he solidify any sort of roster spot? I just can't see that happening between now and then. Maybe if there is a blowout or something like that, he can get an opportunity to get some run in. Maybe he can show, like you're saying, maybe in a situation he could get inserted into that, but I still think he would have to have some sort of proof of concept before throwing him out there in a game as serious as a playoff or a play-in game.
My guess is that hopefully he gets in before the playoffs, before the season ends. There is a game. Maybe it's the Blazers game. Maybe it's the Blazers game.
Be, yeah.
Maybe he's back in time for the Nets. One of those games, the Kings take care of business, and at least Mike Brown can get him in the mix and get his legs moving and things like that. That's what you're hoping for when it comes to Sasha, because if all these games are close, he's just not going to get in.
Yeah. No, and I mean, Sasha getting in there, do you think that would be any better or worse than Duarte? If anything, he's a bigger body,
right?
I would think that I would be just as willing to throw Sasha out there as Mike Brown has been willing to throw Duarte out there, is what I would say.
That's how you feel.
I wouldn't hate seeing him. No. I just think ultimately he's a guy, kind of like you're explaining. He's a breaking case of emergency kind of guy in terms of rotational piece. I don't think he's ever going to be in the rotation for the rest of this year, but I'm not saying that there wouldn't be a situation where, hey, might make a little bit of sense to give this guy a look because he might be able to help us out here, even if it is just for a little bit.
Yeah, and getting back to Trey Lyles, who had posted something on his Instagram, he's, I guess, being reevaluated tomorrow. Sounds as if they'll be ready for him, or he'll be ready eventually, but he's not. He's happy about it, but it's not going to happen tomorrow. It is not going to happen tomorrow or the next day. It's going to take a little bit longer. So hopefully we just get good news coming out of tomorrow's reevaluation, but that's probably going to be it.
I would think so. Yeah. I mean, it doesn't feel like he's really super close, but I would expect Trey to be back probably on that road trip. One of those games, maybe they wait to have him play on that second night of a back-to-back. I think that's the Boston one. Wouldn't surprise me if they hold him off for the rest of this homestand at least, and maybe see if he's got something for the final stretch. Because Trey Lyles is definitely a guy that they're going to need. We've seen, we talked about it initially, right? Their rebounding without Trey out there is definitely taking a step back, and you really do notice the size difference when they don't have Trey to throw out there. Again, they have to throw guys like Chris Duarte at the 4, and you're Chris Duarte or Keegan or HB has to play the 4 in those cases, and the Kings just get really, really undersized in those cases. So they need a guy like Trey, or honestly, I wouldn't be, like I said earlier, I wouldn't be opposed to seeing Sasha get a couple of those minutes either.
When we return, a little bit of fair or foul, also some sound from the media availability after the Kings practice. Stiles Watkins, Sactown Sports.
The NFL's leading rusher plays here.
The handoff to McCaffrey, walks in the end zone. Handoff to McCaffrey, takes it right down to the goal line. He does his thing again. McCaffrey goes in motion right. Backwards pass led by Juszczyk. A block there. Hurdles a man. 10-5. Touchdown! CMC!
You can hear all of Christian McCaffrey's touchdowns on your home for 49ers football. Sactown Sports.
Hey guys, do you know your T level? Revive Men's Health here in Sacramento is helping you take that first step toward better health and enhanced intimacy with a free testosterone level test, exam, and consultation. Plus, for this month only, qualified patients can kickstart their treatment with a free supply of ED medication. Revive's customized ED treatments can provide immediate results, restore blood flow naturally, and even bring spontaneity back into your love life. With both in-person and telemedicine appointments available, plus free shipping directly to you, Revive takes the hassle out of treating low T and ED. Having an optimal testosterone level can change your whole life, and it starts with knowing your T level. Take that first step and book your free testosterone test, free exam, and free consultation, and kickstart your treatment with a free supply of ED medication this month only. Call Revive Men's Health Sacramento at 916-365-4566. That's 916-365-4566, or visit revivemenshealth.com.
Vezenkov, and if he will be able to play sooner rather than later. Doesn't sound like it, as we also discussed. Chris, just a quick fair or foul, man. Mm-hmm. One thing that's really annoying with the March Madness is on social media, they'll pay for the ads, right? So somebody will do something, and then the duration of how long that ad runs, okay, can be very annoying.
Do you mean like the player specific one? Like they give the guy from UVA, Oakland, they gave him.
Yeah. Oakland pulls off the upset with the highlight, and it's still running now.
Gotcha. Okay, I hear what you're
eliminated.
saying. Yes, yeah.
It's very annoying to me.
Yeah,
and
because
they
you'll
do
scroll and you'll be like, "Wait, did I miss? Are the games on today?"
Every single year.
Definitely.
It's very annoying to me, and we talked about it yesterday as well. This Ice Cube thing has really been taken off as far as a lot of people not thinking that he's doing it in good faith, as far as offering Caitlin Clark $5 million. Now,
what's that? Like, what is the bad faith argument?
That he's claiming he's doing it for. He's claiming he's
to like
doing
help
it,
her, but in actuality,
to help women's sports, right? And people are saying Ice Cube's whole shtick is players that are no longer in the game,
right?
So wouldn't it make sense to find some WNBA players, that are no longer playing, or kind of to that point? And I know I sound a little bit different than yesterday when we had this conversation, but after kind of reading everything, Ice Cube is doing it because he wants a hot name, but he's hiding behind it being to empower women and bring more eyeballs to women's sports. So I'm not so.
Yeah.
The bottom line is it can be both. It can be both.
Exactly.
But there's one person that Ice Cube, again, he just didn't do it correctly. There's one person Ice Cube cares about, Caitlin Clark. That means that you do not care about women's sports.
Right.
You care about Caitlin Clark.
Or else you would send an invite to Paige Bucher.
Exactly. And that is why he's getting ripped right now.
That's interesting. I mean, I didn't really, I just kind of assumed that was an angle that everybody had kind of implied. But yeah, I mean, for sure, it was always about the big three. It was always to make sure that the big three seemed as big as possible and get as many eyeballs and try. He sees, and I'm sure he saw first and foremost, he saw those Iowa games sold out, and he hears about how the Final Four women's ticket is a lot more than the men's ticket, and he's trying to get in on that because realistically, the big three, it's like the Harlem Globetrotters. It's just a rotating show that goes around the country, and it's like a circus almost, and he's just trying to get as many tickets as possible. So I don't blame him, but yeah, I guess if people are kind of catching on to the fact that he didn't actually care about improving Caitlin's brand, he was just looking to improve the big three brand, then yeah, obviously, I thought that was the most obvious part of it.
Well, not just Caitlin's brand. It's don't say that you're doing this to help. Because he tweeted yesterday, and it was, instead of having to go overseas, blah, 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 blah. Well, you're only helping one person.
Yeah, right.
You're not helping a bunch of...
You're not helping women's... As a matter of fact, again, like, it's so obvious to me that you're actively hurting it by taking its best product away from the women's game. Like,
Yeah. So a lot of people aren't happy with Ice Cube, and then his junior, Ice Cube Jr., had a lot to say as well. So I thought it was fascinating, but you just be honest, just be honest. You don't have to pretend and say, well, I'm doing this because I think it. No. Just say she's a hot ticket.
Yep.
And I'm changing the rules. And if somebody comes along that is that big, and by the way, everybody's favorite, what do they call him? El Prez or whatever his name is from Barstool. He goes on to offer $10 million to Caitlin Clark to play in his intramural team. So now it just becomes a bit of a joke, and now I think Ice Cube might be mad at him, Portnoy, for doing that. So yeah, I think that Caitlin Clark is going to have a lot of decisions to make, but people were not thrilled with Ice Cube. We do have sound from Sasha Vezenkov and him just kind of talking about his update and where he's at with that ankle.
Better, getting to the right direction. I'm trying every day hard. Fortunately, second injury, the same leg, like 15 days. So I'm trying. First time in my career, I'm out so long. So, it's stressful. I want to help the team, but, I'm trying to be 100% so to be ready to help the team.
There you have it. As simple as that. That is an interesting angle as well. I didn't really think about that, but, we forget Sasha's been a pro for I don't even know how many years now. This is probably really weird territory for him. He's never played in a season this long. 82 games is much longer than any other basketball season out there. But yeah, it's going to be a weird. He was already getting adjusted just to life out here and then to the style of play out here. It is a pretty big ask now. After hearing him say it like that, it just kind of clicked on me that this guy probably is still learning a lot about how like NBA basketball is played. And it just doesn't really make sense to throw him in right here, right now, when let's not even forget the last time he played, we've talked about how the physicality post All-Star break has been completely different, how the game itself is played at a completely different style because of the physicality. Sasha really hasn't even played this style of basketball before. So it's just it just adds to the major list of things that he would have to overcome if he is going to check back in and even get a couple games under his belt. It just feels like a really big ask to have him adjust to all that's going on, and then a huge uptick in physicality where he didn't get to kind of ease his way into it. He's just being thrown in the fire as everybody is peaking at this time right now. It just kind of feels like you're throwing him to the wolves a bit.
Yeah, and probably the biggest miss this offseason, and there's a long list, right? I mean, I guess Trey Lyles could be in that category as a miss. I don't know if that's fair or not to say that he's a miss because there's been injury and things like that. Then he got cold. Chris Duarte, kind of a miss as well. But I guess the biggest thing is Sasha has to be the biggest miss because he was the possibility of the biggest hit. Right? I mean, if your expectations were pretty low, Duarte had pretty low expectations. Yeah. So it's hard to call it a miss. Trey Lyles, it would either be Trey Lyles or Sasha for biggest miss this season.
I mean, it's Sasha. He had a lot of expectation coming into this year. He was supposed to be a real like solidified member of the rotation. But at the same time, like it is a miss, but it's a really low risk miss. Like you can take, it's not a trading everything you have, your entire war chest for Rudy Gobert. Mm-hmm. It's not paying Kyle Kuzma $25 million. If that's the biggest risk they took, and it didn't pan out, at the very least, it was a $7 million per year risk. You're not hurting the future of your team. And, I'm still not giving up on Sasha. I think there's a chance that next year he figures this thing out and he's actually a productive member of wherever he is. Even if it's not here, if it's somewhere else, I think Sasha's an NBA player. Mm-hmm. It just kind of was, he didn't get the luxury of being on a bad team either. And maybe if this team played a little bit more consistently, there would be more moments to throw Sasha in. But with how just in flux it was from game to game, you just didn't really want to throw a new guy out there who had to learn everything. You kind of had to rely on the guys that got you here in the first place to steady the ship. And even then, we've seen how rocky it's been all year. So it's kind of in a weird way been a tough year for Sasha to even try and integrate himself into this team. I could imagine how if he would have joined the team last year, mm-hmm. I think it would have worked perfectly. It's just I think his timing was just a little bit off, and this wasn't the year to try and integrate a guy who really does a lot of similar things to guys you already have out there.
Coming up next, more sound from the Kings media availability. Also, we have an update from Eric Armstead, what that price of disrespect actually was. Stiles and Watkins, Sactown Sports.
The Oakland A's open the 2024 season at home Thursday against the Cleveland Guardians.
Swung on and missed. That's the way this ball game ends.
First pitch at 7 on Sactown Sports.
It's Coach Doug Christie here to remind you, if you want a deal that's a slam dunk, go see the winning team at Folsom Lake Ford. Folsom Lake Ford is your truck headquarters with all your American-made favorites, like America's best-selling F-Series, F-150s, and Super Duties, or spacious new Explorers and Expeditions, plus a huge selection of Broncos and Bronco Sports, all in stock now at Folsom Lake Ford, right here in Sacramento. You can buy any new Ford with zero down on approved credit, save big with low interest finance rates, and Folsom Lake Ford always pays top dollar for your trade. Check out the huge selection of inventory online at FolsomLakeFord.com or stop by the dealership to see their most recent arrivals. Looking for something special? Give them a call and tell them Doug Christie sent you. They'll help you out. Hurry to Folsom Lake Ford in the Folsom Auto Mall, your trusted dealer, my trusted dealer for over 35 years and counting.
Elevate your golf game at Timber Creek Golf Course in Roseville. Just named to the prestigious Golfer's Choice 2024 Top 25 Public Golf Courses in all of California by Golf Pass, Timber Creek offers an unparalleled experience. Our revamped practice facility features a grass driving range, expanded putting greens, and a chipping area complete with sand traps. Whether you're a pro or just starting your golf journey, Timber Creek is the place to be. Visit us and discover why we're the talk of Sacramento and beyond. Unwind and tee off at Timber Creek Golf Course.
Country in the Park is back May 17th and 18th at Cal Expo with Brantley Gilbert, Dustin Lynch, Jay Cohen, Walker Hayes, and more. Tickets start at just $46. Country in the Park May 17th and 18th at Cal Expo. For more information, visit CITPFest.com.
Brought to you by Fidium Fiber, Dawson Oil Company, and Good Guys Heating and Cooling.
With NBA League Pass, you get so much game.
Even regular season games?
Yep.
Even some of the in-season tournament?
Mm-hmm.
Can I watch home and away team broadcasts?
Oh, yeah.
Can I watch from my phone while I take a long bath?
Sure.
And if my team wins, can I stand up super fast and splash water everywhere and scream, yes, that's right?
Hey, could we get a normal fan for this commercial? Subscribe at NBA.com/League Pass today. Only select out-of-market games available and local blackout restrictions apply. Additional charges and other conditions may apply. Visit NBA.com/subscriber agreement for full terms and conditions.
The IRS is the most powerful collection agency on earth. And if you owe back taxes, the news isn't good. The IRS is raising the interest rate it charges on unpaid taxes, and further rate hikes are expected. Most people don't know it, but the IRS adds interest charges to your tax debts daily. So if you owe the IRS today, you'll owe even more tomorrow. And it doesn't stop until you get right with the IRS. The good news is getting right can start with one phone call to Optima Tax Relief, America's #1 tax relief firm. Optima's tax professionals specialize in the Fresh Start Initiative, a powerful IRS program that can save you thousands if you qualify. In fact, the experts at Optima have resolved over $1 billion in tax debt for their clients. Call now for a free consultation.
Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your boy Drapes, Kyle Draper here from Mercedes-Benz of Stockton. You know, there's nothing like getting a massage on my way to work. I know it sounds crazy, but my new ride has seats that massage my back. Leave it to Mercedes-Benz. I've had my new EQS SUV for a few months now, and it's the most gorgeous and sophisticated vehicle I've ever had. I've owned electric cars before, but Mercedes-Benz has set a new standard on how awesome an electric car can be. I never stress about battery charging, and it's got remarkably long range, and it is easy to charge. Now, if you could plug in your hairdryer in the morning, you can plug in this car. It's very simple, and the timing is perfect. It's Mercedes Madness Month at Mercedes-Benz of Stockton. Enjoy up to $19,000 in Mercedes-Benz incentives on select new vehicles, plus a complimentary home charger and 2 years of prepaid maintenance. And they've got certified pre-owned Mercedes vehicles as low as 1.99% APR for qualified buyers. It's Mercedes-Benz of Stockton. It's just a short 30-minute drive from Sacramento, right off I-5, or online at mbfstockton.com.
Sactown Sports.
Call or text at 916-339-1140.
Some more sound coming out of Sacramento and the Kings camp as practice wraps up, and there's some media availability. You already heard from Sasha and what he had to say. Long story short, if you thought you were going to see him tomorrow night, I'm really glad something came out, though, Chris, because after that weird thing broke last week where it was, I'd imagine he would play, right? And us kind of getting our hopes up. I'm glad we're finally hearing from the horse's mouth as far as, okay, we'll see you when we see you.
Yeah, I mean, it's been really confusing, and yeah, it is good just to hear from Sasha. He doesn't, and also, you know, just in general, it's good to hear his emotions on it too, because I think this has been a very emotionally trying season for Sasha all year long. Just again, like I'm sure he was promised a certain level of playing time when he moved his entire life all the way across the country. I think even if he wasn't expressly told, I mean, we had Monty McNair out there. We had Mike Brown out there. We had Vivek out there, like all the way overseas to go watch this guy play and try and tell him to come over. That's showing a certain level of interest. And again, I'm sure those conversations, a lot of them were, hey, come play with us. I know you have this MVP, you can be an MVP over here, but how we're going to utilize you, you're going to be a big piece of this. And I promise not only financially, but we're going to make this worth you uprooting your life. And, for him to struggle to even get into the rotation and then to have these injuries at the end of the year that kind of eliminated any shot he had at potentially even getting some time. I just think it's good to hear that he didn't sound incredibly sad or sounded like he was frustrated at all. Just sounded like he understood that this is a process and, doesn't seem to be in any rush to come back. He doesn't seem to be fearful of his NBA life or anything like that. Seems really comfortable with the situation. So maybe it's been discussed with him. Hey, we understand everything you've been through. Just make sure you're right. We'll steady this ship next season. Just make sure you're healthy this year, and we'll see what happens. But really, I wonder how much of the conversation with Sasha has been direct in saying, look, maybe this thing might just need to focus on getting ready for next season.
Well, here's a comparison. I don't think anybody on these airwaves or Chris Watkins or Nate Littlefield thought that they would hear today, but this is where I'm going to take this because I'm thinking now, Chris, as you're saying what you're saying and how if you're Sasha, does it truly felt like you got a fair shake, right? Does it feel like you got an opportunity where right off the bat, you just weren't in the rotation? Mm-hmm. So where did it go wrong? And the comparison that I'm going to use is everybody's favorite Dallas Cowboys quarterback, Trey Lance.
Yep.
Because the conversation with Trey Lance was, okay, he's ready to go. And then it was time for him to go. And then he's running all the time. Then once they moved him, it was honestly, he wasn't ready. Kevin Hart, he wasn't ready. That's what it was.
Yeah.
With Sasha, similar situation. It's almost as if they got him out there during practice. They figured, because my question is, if it was a matter of him not being ready, he would have started higher in the rotation than fallen out versus having to play in based on them going to get him.
Well,
you see what I'm saying? It's almost
I hear
as
what you're
if
saying. Yeah.
At some point during camp or something, they realized, all right, this guy isn't where we thought he was.
I also think a big part of that too is we don't know if Mike Brown wanted this dude. Like he fell into his lap. Like he
was told we're getting him.
Yeah, like you don't have a choice. Like it's kind of what you have to deal with. And I think that might be I think that is a pretty good comparison just outside of the Trey Lance one, besides that Kyle Shanahan was getting his guy. Mm-hmm. And we know how important that is for Kyle Shanahan. With Sasha, he's just, Mike Brown's like, okay, I'm not going to play him if I have to. It's also not a quarterback, where a quarterback is like, you draft that first round guy, there's no way you're not playing that first round guy. Because there was that Niners story this last year, which believe it if you want, but I don't know how true it is, where Kyle Shanahan came to Jed York and was like, hey, our best quarterback right now is the last pick of the draft.
Right.
And I don't know if that's good or not.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Or that was 2 years ago.
Yeah, I just feel like it's not necessarily like something went wrong. I would lean more so on this is Mike Brown's decision. Like, I mean, it's funny enough, we were earlier about what is Mike Brown's role in all of this.
Do here?
But I would say that Mike Brown and me and Whitey talked about it a lot during summer, and I do have to give Whitey credit. He was on this really from even the recruiting time with Sasha. Mike Brown would probably tell you, we have Trey Lyles, and Trey Lyles is a guy who's been in the NBA before. He's done this for our team last season. They just fit in the same box as each other. And I just think Mike Brown, especially like I said earlier, with how up and down the season went, I just think he was always going to go with the guys who got him there, and they weren't ever really afforded the luxury of getting experimental. We didn't see we didn't really see Keon Ellis enter the rotation fully until now. We didn't see Kessler Edwards get much time until, well, he still hasn't really gotten much time. They didn't really ever have time for experimentation, and I think that played a big role in it, as well as Mike Brown just really not favoring Sasha. I think he was afraid of what it would look like on the defensive end of things, and, I would say he probably didn't get the most fair look, but at the same time, I don't think that Sasha was ever the big difference in this season. Like, I think a lot of people have built up this really big mythological hero that is Sasha Vezenkov that would come off the bench and not have to dribble and just hit all these threes. And the reality was, yeah, he was a good shooter, but you even look at his numbers and they're not crazy. I mean, he shot 38% from three, which is great, but it's not 44%. And I think a lot of that was him getting adjusted. But for the most part, I don't think it's necessarily Sasha played himself out of the lineup. I just think Mike Brown, he was never going to be favored over Trey Lyles. And again, to Whitey's point earlier, I just don't know if you were to ask Mike Brown at the start of the offseason, hey, who are some guys typecasts that you would want to bring in? I just don't think Mike Brown would have said, hey, get me a 6'8", 6'9" shooter who has questions on the defensive end. I feel like he probably would have said, get me as many JTAs as possible. Mm-hmm. And so I just kind of think Mike Brown was never going to lean towards Sasha being the guy unless the Kings were in good or really, really bad situations.
Let's hear from Harrison Barnes, who also was a part of media availability. You talk about a leader as someone who always just says the right things. Here's Harrison breaking down.
He don't care.
How the
team don't care.
He doesn't care. No, none of them care.
They don't care.
But here's Harrison talking about what happened in the game and how they're feeling now after watching the film.
You look at the tape. We've had some losses this year. We didn't have the mental approach or turnover, things like that. I thought last game we just did a lot of things just in terms of a lack of ball movement, a lack of the shots and things that we wanted. That kind of allowed them to fuel their breaks, fuel their offense, not get the shots that we wanted. So there's a few technical things to clean up.
Nothing too crazy. That's who they've been.
Yeah.
That is who they've been.
Yeah, I mean that's yeah. I mean they've got to clean it up for sure. I mean you can't go into Friday and even have any sort of anything you did on Tuesday you really got to throw out. That's how I feel. I mean, I just think you got to really reapproach that game. And I know it was on the second night of a back-to-back that they played Dallas, and I know Dallas was too. You don't have a full time to kind of break down the matchup and really attack it. But we've been saying it for a while now. You have to treat this like a legitimate playoff series. And these days off here better have been a readjustment period. You better show up on Friday with a completely different game plan, because whatever you did on Tuesday didn't work even a little bit.
Well, that's what I'm worried about. That's what
it's a good fear.
The same thing that we've kind of discussed with the Lakers not being able to beat the Kings, or the Kings not being able to beat the Pelicans. How much can you change?
Yeah.
And I truly don't think that we'll see. I'll put it to you like this. Defensively, I don't think we'll see anything different. I am interested to see what they do offensively, because this is an opportunity to look into the future, into the playoffs, to say, hey, man, like we talked about, 7-game series, those split actions, you're going to have to put some wrinkles in. You cannot just run. That thing is going to be looking more stale than some bread that you left out for 4 weeks if you don't add some wrinkles into that offense. Yeah. And I think it's also a good I think it's also a good barometer, not just for this season, but moving forward. Maybe you've gotten to a point where, we used to talk about the Warriors and what happened even when Steph was winning championships, right? Or they won in 2015. They ended up getting KD. But there was a point when you saw that offense when things were tight in the finals and when it's time to, hey, just go get a bucket. Steph wasn't there yet. And that offense did not look the way it looked throughout the course of the season. Right. You had to add different things or a different player. And that's where we're headed. Obviously, you can't do all of that before tomorrow night, but this is the start of adding in some wrinkles that hopefully the team will be able to use and utilize on the offensive end. When we return, more Kings talk, also NFL overs and unders. Stiles and Watkins, Sactown Sports.
Last season, the Sacramento Kings gave us a little bit of everything. A Pacific Division type, GM of the Year, Coach of the Year, Clutch Player of the Year, All-Stars and all NBA performers. Plus, we got to light the beam.
Here's a steal by Fox, a breakaway. He stopped the rip with the left hand.
What does this season have in store? Find out. Each and every Sacramento Kings game can be heard right here on your proud home of the Beam team, Sactown Sports at SactownSports.com.
Contact Tax Relief Helpers for details and restrictions.
Attention, anyone that owes money to the IRS. The IRS has restarted aggressive enforcement actions against taxpayers who owe back taxes that were temporarily suspended for COVID. If you owe $10,000 or more, you must hear this because now is the time to clear your IRS tax debt. A special toll-free number has been established so you can stop penalty fees, avoid liens, levies, or other hostile measures by the IRS. Call Tax Relief Helpers right now at 800-906-5382. Tax Relief Helpers will provide you the maximum protection afforded by law.
I got behind on my taxes and owed $48,000. I didn't know what to do. I called and they got my bill lowered to just $3,500.
I owed $87,000 in taxes and it was scary. I got the amount I owed down to just $3,500. I saved $83,500.
If you owe money to the IRS, don't wait another day. Call 800-906-5382 right now before the IRS enforces liens, levies, or other aggressive measures. The call and consult are absolutely free. Call now. Call 800-906-5382. 800-906-5382. 800-906-5382.
Hey, it's Carmichael Dave for my good friends at American Energy. Now, I've told you this before, but this is what we call extending a good deal. Right now, American Energy Heat and Air is offering an HVAC diagnostic for $99. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. Never mind. They're offering it free. It's a $99 value, but you get it for $0. Let the American Energy team test your system connections and all the moving parts of that system to ensure that it's functioning properly. Now, this is a limited time offer, expires March 31st. Call today to schedule your appointment at 916-520-9990. Speak to the company that has an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau that's been making the greater Sacramento area proud since 1981. 916-520-9990 or AmericanEnergyAir.com. Tell them Carmichael Dave sent you.
Call 916-520-9990 now.
Ad paid for by the Sentinel Group. Attention Marines, military personnel, families, and contractors who were stationed at Camp Lejeune. Were you present at Camp Lejeune between August 1953 and December of 1987? You may be entitled to significant compensation. For nearly 34 years, those in the Marine Corps' base Camp Lejeune were exposed to contaminated drinking water, resulting in devastating injuries, including several forms of cancer, adverse birth outcomes, Parkinson's disease, and more. North Carolina's procedural laws have prevented victims from getting the justice they deserve, but passage of the Camp Lejeune Justice Act of 2022 would allow you or a loved one to file lawsuit seeking compensation for illnesses and injuries linked to the toxic water. Call today for your free consultation. 800-230-0194. Let our experienced attorneys fight to get you the compensation you deserve, and you pay nothing unless there's a recovery in your favor. Call 800-230-0194. That's 800-230-0194. Again, 800-230-0194.
Rivercats fans, it's time to celebrate our 25th anniversary in Sacramento. Regular season baseball returns to Sutter Health Park on Friday, March 29th. The opening weekend festivities include a live DJ and happy hour in Elysian Landing on Smud Orange Friday, Sandlot Night on Sutter Health Fireworks Saturday, and Easter at the Ballpark on Sunday Fun Day. To view the complete 2024 schedule and to purchase tickets, visit rivercats.com. We'll see you there.
Maida Chevy saves you $8,000 off MSRP on every new Silverado LT and RST half-ton diesel in stock after rebates. A Maida Chevy exclusive.
See all the truck season savings at MaidaChevy.com. Together, let's drive.
See dealer for details. Ends 4/30/24.
Live and local. Live and local.
This is Sactown Sports.
The San Francisco Giants have taken the lead off of Nick Ahmed. I think they probably give it a double.
Yeah, it looked like a good double.
Yeah, scoring Michael Conforto,
who also doubled.
They lead the Padres 1-0 in the top of the third. Jung-Hoo Lee up to bat, looking to get his first hit of his Major League Baseball career. Dodgers also leading 2-0. They're beating the Cardinals. The A's play at 7:07 tonight against the Cleveland Guardians.
That should be interesting, right?
Well, they're at home too, so that will be very interesting. Frankie Cardicelli is out there.
He's on the scene right now. He's there right now. He is there literally right now.
I was talking to Frank about it last week, and apparently got another reverse boycott inbound. I'm curious, kind of just to see, maybe not the aftermath, but just what is going on, just how crazy it is there.
They tried to stifle it as much as they could, right? I mean, they shut down the parking up until 2 hours before first pitch, which is not normal. I think it's normally 3 or 4 hours beforehand. So sounds like the A's are already preparing for it in the worst way possible and trying to shut it down the best they can. But, that's why you should follow our guy, Frankie Cardicelli, over there to see everything that's going to go down. I think Frankie said he's going to hang out in the parking lot for a bit. He's going to go talk to some A's fans about how they're feeling. But, yeah, he's already got boots on the ground there. So I think he's setting up shop. And, definitely go check out our guy, Frankie Cardicelli, over on Twitter to get any updates for what happens today at the Coliseum.
And the story, too, should be up tonight as well.
Right.
And if you see Frank, get a picture with him because the days are numbered till he becomes famous.
I think he already is.
Like big-time famous.
I mean, people are always coming up to him.
All over the Kings socials.
Yeah, people are always coming 2K. Up to him. And that's just,
it's crazy.
It's
2K did.
Yeah, 2K, yeah.
It's good for him. And, he works his butt off. As do all the Sactown Sports Kings insiders and all the content creators. So be sure to follow everybody. All right, guys. Before the game ends, I have to
clear out.
I have to give my official prediction.
Okay.
For the San Francisco Giants. My official prediction is they are set at, from what I saw, 83.5 wins. I'm going to say the San Francisco Giants get, and I'm looking into the camera here, San Francisco Giants, 89 wins. 89 wins for the San Francisco Giants, and they will make the playoffs. I don't know what happens after that, but give me 89 wins, over under set at 83.5. Give me 89 wins, and give me the Giants to make the playoffs, probably as a wild card, but, things get wild in the wild card, and anything can happen. There you go.
Awesome.
What would you put, you said it very confidently. What would you put your confidence meter at?
For getting over 83.5, high.
Yeah.
For getting, and I know it's only, what is that, 5.5 games?
Right.
For getting to 89,
pretty significant.
Not as high. But getting over 83.5, I feel pretty confident. But I'm pretty high.
Feels like a pretty low number. I mean, they made some pretty significant additions this offseason.
That's what I would say. So there you have it.
And I think I saw yesterday, sorry if I'm putting you in a situation where you don't know, but I think there was a Snell update yesterday that I saw, or at least like in terms of what the rollout plan is going to be for Blake Snell.
Yeah, they've been in Arizona. They were getting their work in Arizona, and they'll make their way back up. It's not just him. There are a couple pitchers down there as well. So he's making his way.
Because it's Logan Webb today, yeah?
Oh, yeah. It's our guy.
That's right.
Our guy, Logan Webb, who
Kings fan. He's in the building. He's in there.
And I'm telling you right now, I know it's too long of a season. We got to get him on the show.
We have to get him
because we follow each other on social media.
Another Sacramento guy, and speaking of Sacramento guys,
that's right,
professional players, the Eric Armstead number has dropped, and I have it. This is according to Emil. He popped in. Speaking of Emil, too, he's wearing a Luka Doncic jersey today.
No, he's not.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is.
Does he have any connection to
Dallas? I don't know. And did you see the jersey I'm wearing today?
Yes.
Bagley.
He is wearing a Marvin.
Yeah, so I'm the antithesis of Emil today.
Yes.
Wow.
But anyway, it's just kind of crazy. Just thought I'd throw that out there.
That is crazy.
Definitely a decision.
But it's very much an Emil thing to do.
Yeah, yeah. But I wanted the Eric Armstead. It was a 1-year deal he was offered. I'd like you guys to guess because he said he was disrespected, right? What number do you guys think is disrespected?
Can I get some insight on what his Jacksonville?
Yeah, I got it right here. 3 years for $43.5 million.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's like 13-ish a year, 13, 14 a year, something like that. If that's what he accepted. Let's say he feels disrespected with a 1 year. I don't want to go too low and ruin the spirit of it. I'll say $7.5 million. I'll say that they offered him half the contract he ended up accepting.
Pretty low.
I feel like 5 was where I wanted to go.
Wait. Okay.
So
it's a 1 year deal.
You think half? You think he's getting about half of what Or he was offered half of what he's getting now?
Yes.
Okay.
That's because again, he in a very Eric Armstead way, he said it about as respectfully as he could. He literally was like, no beef for Kyle, no beef for John, no beef for the York family. But at the same time, with that being said, I feel majorly disrespected.
I think they just gave him more years, honestly.
No, they said 1 year, right?
Yeah.
No, excuse me.
He thinks that's why he took Jackson.
Yes, gotcha.
Which is kind of the reason why anyone in the NFL takes a contract.
Right. So I think they probably gave him a little bit more per year, but only 1 year. I'm actually going to say they offered him $18 million. 1 year, $18 million.
Whoa.
All right, Alan, you are way off. I'm sorry. You're way. Chris, I was shocked how low you went.
Yeah.
But you are almost right. They offered him initially 1 year, $6 million, which in my opinion is disrespectful.
That's low.
And then
That's
I think
really
they
low.
got up to 8, and it was just no go. And
Jacksonville wanted to give him 3 years, $15 million a year.
13, I think.
13 and a half or something like that.
Yeah.
If you're making 43.
And then probably guaranteed. I don't know how much he would have been guaranteed in that. I know how
Right.
important that is in the NFL these days.
That's everything.
Always been, actually. But crazy. That is low. That does.
You said it started at 6 and possibly got as high as 8.
That's what Emil Fragoso has told me.
I feel like, like in good faith, he was probably expecting less. Like he was probably expecting like 8 and was hoping for 10. Like that's probably what I would guess. But like at the same time, that is pretty disrespectful. I mean, again, a guy who's been there for 9 years,
had some good moments,
and they always say that the Walter Payton Man of the Year is the most important award in sports, and again, Eric Armstead has been the perfect citizen in terms of that locker room. I could definitely see how he would say, I would like to feel wanted here, especially with all the stars. It's really easy to overlook him. I could see how he would find that a bit disrespectful, but at the same time, that's the game, man. You're the place you want to get your money isn't offering you. Go out and find it, and he did. So definitely shout out to him. And you can't. At the same time, you really can't blame the Niners because they have to be stingy.
Yeah,
this is the situation they're in too.
I just thought maybe they weren't willing to give. I just thought maybe they would give him a decent amount of money, but just weren't willing to give him the years.
Yeah, I mean they can't afford it, especially with Ayuk. Like, I mean, I mentioned earlier in the show, you look at the writing on the wall with every single person restructuring. I think that's about how much Eric was making in his contract anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know how. I have a really, really difficult time understanding the salary cap. I'm not smart enough to.
It's tough.
A lot of it's wizardry. A lot of it is conspiracy.
A lot of manipulation.
A lot of manipulation. Yes, we all know it's going up in the coming years more than we thought, or more than experts thought. So with Eric, it's like, I mean, it's just time. But that offer, I think it goes both ways. I totally understand why he felt disrespected. But the Niners, you can't offer a guy with health issues who, quote unquote, only shows up in the playoffs to stop the run, which was so important. It isn't available all year. It's frustrating. It doesn't work. So
there you have it. The other thing I wanted to say that I didn't say as it pertains to the Giants is I have a pick that I feel better about, and he actually has worse odds. Maybe I'm picking with my heart here since we went to the same high school. Kyle Harrison.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Dale Sal guy. Kyle Harrison for Rookie of the Year. That's what I got.
Wow.
Kyle Harrison for Rookie of the Year. I also like Jung-Hoo Lee for Rookie of the Year. But one of those two guys, that would be nice. Some Dodgers pitcher has the best odds.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I don't know. That farm system is just insane.
It doesn't make any sense.
It is just insane. So
like
there you have
Dustin May just chilling. Urias, right? Just chilling in there.
All the time. And you...
Mookie Betts solo homer.
Mookie Betts is doing his thing as usual. They're up 3-0 now, the Dodgers, over the Cardinals. Maybe we'll see a Brandon Crawford sighting if this thing gets out of hand. And Chris, really just some of the final thoughts on the Kings, listening now to some of the media availability. They're not, and somebody on the text line said, Sasha really hasn't done too much this season anyway. You're still not going to have, it's going to be the same team you rolled out on Tuesday. So what are you going to do to make sure that it doesn't end like it ended on Tuesday.
Yeah, I mean, it's really crazy because I don't think like it was a focus issue. I don't necessarily think it's a, hey, like they didn't meet the moment properly. I think that they just weren't prepared, like game plan wise. And, definitely part of that goes on Mike Brown for sure. That's definitely something that I think needs to be addressed, is just how they decided to attack Dallas. And again, it just felt like they weren't prepared for the team that Dallas is nowadays. But you do have to have a bit of pride too. I mean, you do have to really fight to get these wins at this point in the season against teams that are fighting themselves, man. Dallas is not going to lay down. They're not going to say just because we won on Tuesday, oh, job's taken care of. They understand, if anything, they now see the blood in the water, and they say, oh my gosh, we have a shot at tying this season series and getting up on these guys and putting us in a really good spot to win the 6th seed. So you got to stay focused. You got to stay locked in. You can't get too down on yourself. And, man, whatever you do whatever you didn't do on Tuesday.
Yeah. And, you heard from Harrison Barnes himself just say he felt like there weren't huge issues, and partly because we've all seen this story before, including the Kings. So who would be better than the Kings to right their wrongs and do that tomorrow night? We are continuing to break everything down tomorrow as we get you ready for the big showdown, essentially the Kings' last shot at the 6th seed. Not technically, but may as well be if they don't get it done tomorrow night. We will talk to you then. Thank you for listening to Stiles and Watkins. Thank you to Nate Littlefield for doing his thing. Thank you to Kevin Gray Jr. from Dallas Mavericks pre- and post-game on 97.1 The Freak, home of the Mavericks, for hopping on the show. Until tomorrow, you got the Drive Guys coming up next with our guy Kyle Draper and Jay Johnson. Secure the bag, light the beam.
Kevin Herter plays here.
It's Herter. He's been hot. He fires.